Everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday so far, making it halfway through the week here. Hopefully, it'll be a good finish to the week. I know for me, I still have some work to do here at the house with the dumpster and everything, but I always make time for our live streams. I hope everybody's well. So, the topic today is what are you shooting? What are your plans? What are you doing creatively? Share them with everybody so that maybe we can inspire each other to go out and really showcase what Nikon can do, or Sony, or Canon, whatever it is you're shooting. We're not opposed to other brands. Everybody's making great cameras, but we do push the Nikon brand only because we want to see Nikon continue to succeed and do well. All right, a couple admin notes. Let's see. Saturday night, we will have the normal live stream, but on the 28th, I'm going to a wedding. Oh boy. And the bride has asked that I bring my camera. That'll be fun. I have to coordinate with the other photographer that's shooting the wedding, stay out of their way. So I'll be out on the 28th. Therefore, I'm going to do the live stream on the Friday night before so that we can all enjoy our normal conversation. I hope everybody can plan for that. That's Friday the 27th. And here we go. We got Mr. Jeff just popped in. How you doing, Jeff?
Doing all right. A little worn out, but we're okay. I'm sure you're.
Yeah. I've made multiple trips out of the house, out of the attic. That's the problem. Is it just takes so long, one armload at a time. So, but it's going okay.
And it's about 100 degrees in the attic, which doesn't help.
No, you're absolutely right. Actually, today's a little cooler. It's I think it's 68 degrees right now, so that definitely helps.
Yeah.
So who do we have in here? We've got Greg Wilson, Nature Photography, and let's see, Roy Bigsby. So let's see, Mr. Ted A. Good's in here. Good afternoon. How you doing? Uh, Next, I'll be shooting antique jewelry. There we go. Roy, I thought you were giving it up, man. I thought you were retiring. Archive documenting down to 1 millimeter. Wow. That ought to be fun, but I know that you have the glass, the cameras, and everything to do that, and you're well versed in it. I like shooting stills. I haven't done it lately, but I like doing that as well. Sith's in here. Mozman, out eating lunch with my pop. Hey, congratulations, man. That's great. Ordered shrimp and grits. Shrimp and grits just for you guys. All right, man.
The grits you could just like push aside if you want. We'll forgive you.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Robert Magnuson. How you doing, sir? Yeah, long time no see, man. Glad you're in here. All right, we got a few more people popping in. That's great. All right, so the whole idea is just to kind of inspire each other today with whatever you're shooting or any special projects you have going on, whether that's commercial or just for fun. Just for the photo op. All right. All right, Moz, man. Let's see, Roy, Z9 FTZ2, bellows, EMS adapter, Nikon objective microscope lens. Wow. Wow. What a setup.
I'll tell you, I probably haven't used the bellows on a camera in 40 years. It was always interesting, though.
Yeah. If you can, Roy, I hope you can share at least some of that. Show us what you actually produced. That'd be interesting.
Or show a picture of the setup.
Yep.
I bet you, well, us old folks know what a bellows is, but I bet you anybody younger probably is saying, what's a bellows?
Yeah. Yeah, so much more convenient, I guess, than, rings. Jaspreet, good to see you in here. So did everybody enjoy the talk yesterday with Mr. Chris Hirschman over on Vihography Talks? I think he was a pretty nice guy. Obviously, he keeps a little bit to himself as far as what Nikon's up to, being an ambassador. Long Rider, hello, buddy. Uh, oh, here we go. Roy said he'll check with the museum for release. That'd be great, Roy, if they'd let you share just a few photos. We'd just like to see how that turns out. And just like Jeff said, the setup, a photo of the setup would be great. All right. Yeah, I enjoyed the show. I like Chris. I found him with the release of the. Uh, well, let me pop this up here real quick. Yeah, I need help with video from Chris as well, Roy, and we're going to get Frame Voyager back in here. He wants to come back on the show, and we can talk video with him. He just put out another video highlighting the Comica. I don't know if that's correct pronunciation of their name, but the Comica wireless mic. They have a kit out with four transmitters and one receiver. So that makes it very convenient for a roundtable discussion or something like that to mic everybody up. And I'm really looking at that because I was looking at the, of course, Rode Go 2 with the two transmitters and one receiver setup, but the Comic is on a different frequency. And if you haven't been over there, go over to Frame Voyager on YouTube and check his channel out. His latest video is on the Comica 2 if you're in search of wireless mics for anything that you're doing video wise. It's a great review. He actually uses it out, and he used it during NAB, and it looks very promising. So I'm definitely going to have to check it out. Let's see. Greg, here's what he's up to. Hoping to get out to a nesting hairy woodpecker pair feeding young this weekend. Great, man. That'd be great. Are you going to do just stills, or are you going to try to do some video with that, Greg? I think it'd be interesting to watch a video of that as well if you're doing any video. Jaspreet, good stream yesterday, but I wanted to get answers for some questions. Yeah, I know, Jaspreet. We constantly want answers, but being an ambassador, you knew you weren't going to get a lot from him. However, he did, I think, take notes on what some of the comments you made. He may pass those up to Nikon, whether they'll do anything or not, or maybe they are doing it, but we just don't know yet. Which is takes us back to the communication and the marketing. Let's see.
Hello, Mike and Robert.
Yeah, hi, Mike. Good to see you in here, man. I use a wireless Go 2. I do too, Sith. I use it, but I don't have the new two transmitter, one receiver. Oh, I see. One for the lav and the other iBoom. Okay. So you actually running another microphone, just using the transmitter on the end of the boom. That's pretty cool. Robert, latest project. Recently rented myself out to a company that does volume photography. It gives me income when I don't have any assignments for myself. Well, that's great, Robert. Glad to hear. At least you found something to kind of pick up the gap. That's good. What kind of volume photography is it? Like portraits, headshots, or is it stills or products or what? Just curious. And Greg says, of course, video for my channel, though I don't vlog. Okay. So, what channel are, Greg? We need to get your channel. You need to post a link to your channel. We need to get you some views too, and I want to see what you're producing. So, drop that in the chat so everybody can go check it out. That's one of the things that Vahagan and I have both promised to do is to help lift up smaller channels. And I'm not saying your channel's small. I don't know, or your website or whatever it is. But that's one of the things we want to do is kind of the little guys down here at the bottom lifting ourselves up because the big guys aren't going to help us. Hey, good afternoon, Ray.
Yeah, we're all bottom feeders right now.
Yeah, yeah. Give Jeff some love over there on his channel. Jeff, I enjoyed your video, although it seemed pretty dire, the situation there. But I brought that up early on this year when I got the 1 to 400, and I was talking about the birds hadn't arrived. Well, they still haven't. So this looks like it's not just in your neck of the woods, but all over the place. Typically, I would have geese filling my yard up, which was a pain in the butt. Don't get me wrong. I don't miss that, but I have missed all the ducks and everything else. I haven't seen anything hardly this year. I do have one blue heron that shows up from time to time, but typically I'll have two or three of them back there fighting for space. I haven't seen, I heard one day my kingfisher, I have a belted kingfisher, or a couple of them that usually hang out in the back here, but I haven't seen any of them yet. I just heard one. This has been a month or so ago. All right. 3 months of backup audio. Go ahead, Jeff.
It was very tough to, that video was really hard for me to do. I mean, it was very personal and it was hard to make it uplifting. I mean, I tried to show video of some interesting things going on, to not be all gloom and doom, but it was kind of hard.
Yeah. So here's Robert talking about football. Okay, handball with portraits. Okay, well that's good work. It's fun to do. Yeah, like I said, fills the gap for you when there aren't other assignments coming in. That's great. Anybody have anything really creative? I mean, Greg, I consider what you're doing very creative. Especially with the video, having the woodpeckers feeding the young. Everybody likes to watch, and Jeffrey, you do that quite a bit in your photography for your channel. Everybody likes to watch the parents feeding the young. It's always good video. I don't know of anybody that they may not be into birding or anything else, but still that draws attention. It's just fun to watch that. Jaspreet. All right. YM Cinema wrote an article about NRAW, but even they don't have enough info because Nikon haven't sent a Z9 to filmmaking YouTubers who do all the tests to get cine look and other details. Yeah. Yeah. And I think he kind of addressed that yesterday. Nikon is not new to video. Nikon was the first with video in a DSLR, as everybody knows, but they just didn't pursue it for very long. Maybe it's because Nikon doesn't have a cine line or do anything with the, in the cinema realm, but they're going to have to step up to the plate now if they want to be in this hybrid market. So, I would hope that Nikon is going to continue to march down that path and get the Z9, because that's all we have right now that does all this video. Get the Z9 in the hands of some true creators, and let's see what it can actually do. Roy talking about he loves the images of the nests and things there, Jeff.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, and those were thankfully one of the few places where I was able to get some where they were even with the 500 on there, but at least it was close enough to get some decent size images of them. And the anhingas are amazing to watch them feed. I mean, I got some still shots of some, and I swear the babies have their heads 2 feet down the neck of the mother. I mean, it's just, you're like shaking your head. You're almost kind of grossed out by it. It's what they do to get food. It's not like, oh, okay, mama just spits up a little bit of something. I mean, it's like they're going for the stomach, man.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a question for you. Why do they have their wings halfway spread out when they're feeding? Is that a constant with them, or is that just that shot?
I think that's just that shot. I mean, I think they have to balance themselves. The babies, they don't stay small very long. I mean, it is really remarkable how quick birds grow up. I mean, you could be talking like some great blue herons. I saw them when they were maybe, I don't know, a foot tall, and then 3 weeks later, they're like 3/4 of the size of the adults. I mean, they just grow so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to balance themselves because, like I said, the young ones really aggressively go down the mother's throat, or I'm not so sure if the father feeds them too or just the mom, but it's a sight to see, I'll tell you that. I know it's amazing. That's all I can say. It really shocks you.
So Jasper, it's not about if he did it first or not. It's about the narrative, and to break the narrative that Nikon can't do filmmaking, they need to put the Z9 in. Yeah, Make Art Now, Josh over at Make Art Now, uh, those kind of creators. I would agree with you. And you know what? I don't know whether they reached out to people like Josh over at Make Art Now. I would love to see him take that camera and do a spinoff, not necessarily anamorphia, but something like that to show the real cinematic capability. I don't know if he really cares or not to do it. Maybe they did reach out to him. I don't know, but I agree with you, and that's exactly what I've been talking about. Jaspreet is let's get this camera in the hands of some of the creators, the real content creators out there that produce some of these magnificent videos. There are a few that are doing music videos. I found the one guy he's out of Sweden, but he travels doing music videos. But you know, more importantly, Nikon needs to roll this video capability down into the next body and get that out because, again, we are losing the battle because we're not promoting the camera, we being Nikon. I don't mean us, we need to do it as well, but Nikon needs to do it. And that camera needs to come out and it needs to come out soon, be it a Z8 or a Z7 III or Z6 III, whatever it is, but these things need to roll out and roll out soon because I just watched another video by a young shooter who started with Nikon. He just did a video, and I think I brought this up the other day, where he's comparing the A7 IV to the Z5. Yes, not necessarily a great comparison between the right models, but the point is that he went to the A7 IV. He still has a Z5, but he went to the A7 IV just because he gets all the video creativity out of it. So, yeah, Nikon, you listening? I hope so. Let's see.
Yeah, for those that only shoot stills, there's nothing wrong with that, but uh, Nikon's not going to go backwards and just do stills cameras. That's long,
No,
long gone, and they have to. They got a good push here with the Z9, and they got to carry it forward with every successive model that they come out with.
yes, absolutely. So I know you brought up, and I've brought up Philip Bloom before too. He did the initial test with the A7. I guess it was just the A7, maybe I don't know, A7S, A7 when it came out, doing video on the beach over in Britain and talking about how well it did at night with no artificial light, just ambient light from buildings around or a pier that was out there, and it was incredible. And a lot of that probably sold a lot of those cameras early on and pushed people into Sony. So, yeah, DJI drone. Let's see. You can understand how he puts things together as a filmmaker perspective. Yes. Yeah, I know, man. I know. And I'm guilty of it too. And I'll tell you why, because I'm afraid of actually producing video. And I'm trying to work myself out of that. I'm a stills shooter, but I like playing with video. I just need to get better at the editing of video. And then I'm going to start putting up some terrible videos for everybody to watch.
You could join me in the terrible video department.
Yeah, well, I think yours is great. And at least you're producing video. I haven't yet. So yeah. Shoot a cocktail party or cocktail photography. Well, that ought to be interesting, Albert. Man, you got to share if you can, share what you do. You guys need to start sharing it here with us, and we need to get the word out and so we can share your creativity with others. And that's something else I'll say. Whether it's sharing my live stream or sharing Vahagan's or Jeff's or whoever else, if they're a small channel, make sure there is an opportunity to share these videos with other people. And let's get others involved in us growing and not just for, the sake of growing, but to share the information, to, share our creativity.
Thank you, Charles, for the compliment. I appreciate it.
Still waiting on the 800. Yeah, a lot of people waiting on it too. Feeling it's going to be 6 months or a year to get. I don't know. Maybe not, Greg. Let's look at it positively. There was the rumor by DS. Well, it's not a rumor. He had talked to Nikon USA, and I guess Nikon is ramping up more production. And if they're going to add shifts to the production, then that tells me that the chip shortage and such may not be as bad. I'm sure it does impact some of the production, but it may not be as bad as everybody wants to make it out to be. I think a lot of people are using it as an excuse to protect Nikon. And you know me, I'm not about that, man. There are no excuses. There are only answers to the questions we have, and not excuses, but answers.
Well,
A7 was great for its time. Uh, Pretty poor compared to new cameras. Absolutely, Roy. I agree. But at the time, man, it stood out. No doubt about it. Looks like Stu just dropped another video, folks. Why I came back. We'll all have to get over there and watch that. I wish Stu would join us here, but I know he's probably working since he's a working man. But
I think it was a big thing that Nikon talked about adding shifts or adding, personnel and working more hours and stuff like that, because you don't do that if you don't have the parts. You're not going to pay people overtime or have extra shifts to sit there and not be able to do anything because you don't have parts. So that tells you that they have parts, at least for some stuff, to
that's
be
right.
able to justify doing that. So that's good news.
So they have parts, they have space, or they already have space, or whatever. But yes, I agree. It tells us that, hey, and you know what, Nikon, you shared that with us, and of course we're going to get our hopes up. So don't let us down, and actually talk about it. I'd like to hear a statement from Nikon talking about how they're ramping things up based on the demand that's out here right now. So all the people talking about nobody can afford anything. Well, if that was the case, we'd all have everything we want right now.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they said if the ramp up was to, if it's specific to just lens manufacturing or whether it's bodies as well, or what the mix is. Is it to what products are they ramping up to crank out? Is it Z9s? Is it 800 millimeter PFs? What is it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it would be nice if they just let us know, hey, we're really going to concentrate on X for this, the next 4 months or 6 months or whatever. Again, communication goes a long way, especially with your customer base that's been so loyal. Don't let us down. That's a good question, Sith. For me, I'm not a working pro. I don't know that I would upgrade to the Z9S or Z92 or whatever they're going to call it when it comes out. I do want a second body, though, that's pretty much as capable. And again, I get in trouble for saying it that way, but I want some of the features out of the Z9 in a small body, because when I do shoot events or whatever, I like to shoot with two cameras. So that's what I'm waiting for. Not a second Z9, but that smaller body that has a lot of that capability in it. But anybody else, want to jump in and answer whether you would, will, or hope to, or whatever. Hey, Jeff, here you go. You're doing great, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I want a second body just so, believe me, I am the last person that ever thought I would ever try to shoot video. The last videos I did was VHS camcorders for my kids years ago. But I do want to get another mirrorless body, and I would probably use that to film some of the things I'm doing on location, so I could talk to the camera. I'm a one-person show right now. A friend of mine, Bob R Photos, who I've mentioned before, that's his Facebook. His channel. We talked today about, well, why don't I bring my camera and I'll film you doing some stuff one day for your channel, and then you do the other thing for me, because when you're a one man show, it's kind of hard to do all this, you know.
No, you are correct, and that's something that, Bayou Joss was just talking about, having to carry 2 tripods with cameras mounted, when they're out in search of, birds and having fun. It is a chore, and this is why I brought up to a lot of people, give some love to those that are actually producing content, whatever type it is, if you're enjoying it, because it is a chore, it's a job, and for a lot of people, it takes away from some of the things that they would be doing other than photography or videography. So where to share. You can copy the links, share in YouTube. You can share on, I mean, so many platforms out there now. And I'm not a platform king when it comes to all the different social media platforms, but just share the links. You never know who's going to pick it up, see it, and pass it on to somebody else. And that's how we grow. 1 in 50 people may actually enjoy what you're sharing. And that's fine because that's how we continue to grow and get our voice out there, your voice too, especially when we're talking about my channel. Just like Jaspreet, he always has great comments, and trying to pass those on to other people and other guests that we have on here. All right. uh Terry, here you go. Terry, welcome to the show, man. I don't know if you've been in here watching and listening, but thanks for the information here. Bulgaria bird numbers are down also compared to
Mhm.
recent years. So what's going on? Have they just changed their migration patterns or something, or what's the deal?
It's either that or we're doing what we're very good at, and that's destroying habitats and stressing out nature in general. We're pretty good at that.
Yeah, I have no idea what's causing it, but now there's 3 different areas just in one show here talking about the lack of birds. I'm not saying they're all gone, but the numbers are definitely way down. So I don't know. Here you go. Thank you very much. Thanks, Charles. Posted Jeffries on my Facebook, and that's great. And
Thank
and
you.
everybody can do that if you really enjoy. And I'm not talking about just my channel. I'm talking about anything that you run across that you enjoy. Just take a minute and post it on your, a link on your FaceTime or whatever it is. Or if you're on YouTube, make a mention of it in your YouTube channel or on your website if you have one. Uh,
I think it's important. Just don't. I mean, like I said, my kids laugh at me. They can't believe that I join your show, Chuck, and actually talk to people. I don't know why they think that's so strange, but uh, I obviously have no problem talking. Um, but I mean, they're just freaked out right now. They think, I don't know, an alien took over my body or something like that. But I think it's important to just share what you have, because you want to get people interested in the hobby. You want to get people to appreciate what's out there. There's too many couch potatoes in this world. People got to get off their butt
yep.
and go out and see things. And they just had they had an ad on the TV down here in South Carolina, how little time kids actually spend outside.
Yeah.
How it's really messing kids up because they don't get any outside time. And it's like, take your kids to the park, take your kids out to see nature, take your kids to the beach. I mean, all these kids are just like on their video games or whatever, and they don't get to see the
Well,
outside.
you're right, man. There's so much peer pressure now amongst kids too that drive them to do what they do rather than what the parents would like to, expose them to. So it start early and stick
Yep.
with it so that they learn to like and love, all the other things in life besides being in the house on video games or whatever it happens to be. I agree.
Yeah.
Jaspreet, I agree with you 100%. And what we're seeing in some of these videos is probably people like me that just don't know enough to be that creative, to, do shorts and stories and things with a cinematic look. But you're absolutely right when you talk about it. We need to put the camera in the hands of people that will do that and can do that, because that's what people aspire to when they see that beautiful cinematic video. Then they want to do it. So they're going to go out and try it. I agree with you, brother. I agree with this too, hero. Nikon, and this is what we're really talking about. This
Yeah.
has been the big conversation is Nikon needs to, you know, we that would be a great idea too. A7 III type camera, big on specs, low on price. Then you're going to get all the marketing gurus who can't even balance their checkbook tell you how that's a bad idea. But Nikon needs to get on the ball. I agree. Whether it's a Z8 or going down to an A7 III type camera. Maybe that is something that's coming up. Again, I remind everybody, remember, Nikon did register 2 cameras. So hopefully we're going to get some news or some rumors as to what may be coming soon. And they did that a couple of months ago. So I don't know what's going on. Here you go. Rich, I haven't seen you in here before, but welcome to the show. Maybe you're one of those that does tune in and watch the show, but never comments. I appreciate the comment. And welcome. More, continue to participate, man. Have a good time with us. DSLRs are back. Sales increase 132% while mirrorless cameras decline. Talking about that earlier with somebody else, and I don't know if I don't know what's going on there. I don't know why that would be. Maybe it's because of the decrease in prices or things like that. But is that new sales? And I'm guessing it is. But if it isn't, if it's just in sales overall, which could include used cameras. I said a while ago, this is a time for somebody that's just getting into photography. If you want the best gear, professional gear, minus mirrorless in the DSLR world, there are some great buys out there right now. Not starting with a D5000, but you can start with some quality cameras at very good prices. I don't understand. I don't know. I didn't read the article. I don't even know where it came from, but I'd like to know more about whether it's new camera sales because the new cameras are getting few and far between as all camera manufacturers begin to phase them out of production. And I also brought up a possibility is that people that haven't gone mirrorless yet, that are sticking with their trusty D5, D4, um, uh, D850 or whatever, are they buying up replacements before they're gone because they're happy with their DSLR? That could be a possibility as well. I don't know. What do you
Yeah,
think, Jeff?
I would think that has to include the used marketplace because you go in a Best Buy right now. If you find one or two DSLRs in there, you're lucky. Everything is mirrorless. So I don't know where you'd even, it'd be hard to find a lot of new DSLRs. There are some, but production of those products is intentionally being cut down because these manufacturers want to focus on mirrorless. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, if you're not into video and you really want to just start off with stills, like you said, I mean, you can go out there and buy a professional grade D4 or something and get a phenomenal price on it. And obviously the F glass is dropped like a rock, so you can get some good deals on some decent glass.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
there's nothing wrong with going that way. But I mean, if you want to have great video, though, you're going to have to go mirrorless. There's no doubt about it.
Hey, Rich, that's a good point. It may have something to do with the chip shortage. I don't know. Because again, maybe DSLRs are so readily available and mirrorless is just hard to come by. Jess Breed again. Stu Blue should reactivate his original channel. He had all the audience subscribed to his channel, and it was easier to find. All the videos were fun. I agree. I don't know whether he can or not. I don't know what his reasoning behind it was, but I haven't watched his video. Like I said, he just posted a video why I came back. So maybe he'll explain it to us there. All right. Uh, Jeff and Leslie, there you go. There you go. Excuse me. There you go, Jeff.
I think you. I'm glad you liked it. I think you liked it more than I did doing it. but hopefully, some locals, we are getting people to start writing more to the park. So hopefully things will get adjusted.
Yeah, and that's another, especially if anybody's watching from your area that actually uses that park, it'd be wise for them to share your video as well as much as they can. Get a little more exposure. My last D850 is my second body. This is Roy Bigsby. Everyone needs at least one second body. I agree with you, Roy.
Yeah.
I still have my D850. I still have my D500 and with the mirrorless cameras that I have now. But I am really in that at that point where I think it's time to start liquidating the F mount stuff and the DSLRs. I like this. I need a second body for me. I'm worn out. That's true, man. I agree with you. I agree with you, Greg. Maybe Nikon can produce the robotics and give me a second body.
Or watch Avatar again and hope that can happen.
There you go. There you go. Robert says he doesn't think chip delivery will be any better considering the new cars are delivered with at least 6 cameras. And we have a war in Europe where they are shooting 1,000 smart bombs every day. Yeah, yeah. But Robert, I agree with you. But then again, there is hope. Just like we were talking about earlier, where if Nikon's picking up production, they know that they have to ramp up production. Then maybe some of the chip shortage, maybe the chip shortage isn't as bad as we thought. I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I've always thought that maybe that was somewhat, I mean, I know it's real, but somewhat an excuse to uh, not produce what they should have been producing. So as time goes on, we're going to continue to learn more. So we'll see. Don't stress the video check when it comes to video. I'm so bad that I'm stranded on Gilligan's Island. Me too, brother. Me too. And Vahagan's constantly poking me, saying, "Get off your butt and get some video out there." So yeah, it's something I got to do. I think I just have way too many things going on in the background, and I don't mean to burden you all with all my woes of trying to get out of this house, but that and life combined, which that is part of life, kind of keeps me busy and not being able to do the things that I really want to do to really pick the channel up and help you guys out. So more to come. We'll get there. I get out of this house and get into my forever home, then that's it. Then I'm free to do all these things and have a better time. Um, oh, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. And hello, buddy.
Yeah, my D850 is my second camera right now as well.
Haven't seen the black swans. So it's everywhere. Everywhere there's just a bird shortage. I wonder what is going on. I wonder if any other areas have picked up, maybe. I don't know. Is that a possibility too? They're just changing routes or something. I don't know. But, put the word out. Let's see if anybody else is experiencing this. That'd be a great idea. Maybe we can even do a show talking about this if anybody's interested. But I still encourage you to ask around and see if you're hearing this anywhere else, and then post it either in the comments after the video or bring it up in the next in the next live stream. I'm curious now with quite a few places talking about the same thing. Uh, and I'd wondered about this too, Charles. They did that back here in our wetlands a couple of years ago. Let the water drop to almost nothing. It was just a trickle, and let the vegetation grow. I don't know why. I don't know what that does for the birds, or maybe it has to do with other ecological things that they wanted to do back here. I don't know, but and now thinking about it, since they did that, that has been the problem with the birds. They've become so fewer. And I'm wondering if it has to do with once they dropped the water and left it that way for an entire year, all the birds just decided, well, it's not worth going there anymore and went somewhere else. That's my simple thinking in my Kentucky mind.
Well, the rookery at the state park literally did not have, from what I could tell, even a single nesting pair of great egrets, which normally would have been, the trees would have been lined with them. Now, they would always spray in there to knock down the reeds, and I think they oversprayed.
Okay.
You can't get rid of all the reeds and think the birds are going to be comfortable with that, because
Well, that's that
gators.
ecosystem that,
Yeah, you've
one
got
thing
gators
leads to
in
another.
water. They got to
Yeah.
hide in the reeds. That if you kill all the reeds, then they're going to be like, oh, I'm not going to sit here and let the gators just gobble me up.
Right. Right. What else was it? Greg, you're talking about lack of birds out in California. Jaspreet talking about it. Now, Jaspreet's not local for those of you that don't know. So we're talking in India, even. Many birds I used to see here 15 years ago just disappeared. Even vultures are also disappeared, which I used to see flying when I was in school. Yeah, so it's going on everywhere, it seems like. Uh,
Well, the vulture issue in India is a big deal. There's been documentaries done on various shows talking about how desperate they need vultures in India, because you have to have something when the cattle dies and when
yeah,
things die off. You need them to kind of like clean up house, and if you don't have those birds, you've got a big ecosystem problem, and it isn't going to get any better. I mean, it's going to get worse.
well, that's just it. The ecosystem that we're talking
Yep.
about. To get rid of one thing means you're affecting everything above it, especially
Yep.
at the lower end of the ecosystem. When you're talking about vegetation and things like that, then there are other things that go along with that, and birds can't feed on whatever it was that was in that lower echelon of the ecosystem. So,
Yep.
yeah, I don't know. Is it one of those things they have to do from time to time? I don't know. And I'm not an expert on it, but I've noticed again the lack of birds here. So talk back to video. Sith talking about, I think it's the art of storytelling, creative eye, and color grading. Absolutely, absolutely, and you're absolutely right, Sith. But that definitely helps sell cameras. Everybody wants to mimic what they see. And, look, you can use whatever you have. I get that, but that doesn't take away from the marketing that you get out of people posting great cinematic video or something like that to sell cameras. And just don't see a lot of it. Nikon needs a D850Z. Yes, they do, Roy. The Z8. That's exactly what they need. You're absolutely right. Uh, so again, all these are great comments. I hope that Nikon USA and Nikon Corp is watching. It's, crazy to say with my little channel, but I hope they are, because they need to see that it's not just me up here on a stump, complaining. It's, a lot of people in the ecosystem that are also talking about this. Yes, they need that next that the D850 ish, the prosumer, the version, the camera underneath the flagship. That's what's missing right now, and it is hurting Nikon, and I refuse to believe that it isn't. Uh, and
Yeah, Jasper talks about the what's killed the vultures, and I read about that too. The documentary was about hormones or something they were putting in the cows, or some chemicals they put in the cows, and then the vultures ate the cows, and then they all died. They were dying off.
yeah,
So it's like it always comes down to mankind. That's for sure. If you,
yeah, and I'm not one to jump on the bandwagon of saying, stop everything and whatever. Yes, there has to be a balance, and maybe at
yeah,
times the balance gets out of whack. But I mean, we can't stop living, but I know that we don't want to damage the environment so much that we lose everything. I get that as well. So I don't know what the balance is, but I'm not one that jumps on what's her name, the little girl that the world's ending because we barbecue outside and so on and so forth. I'm not going that far. Ray talking about he has 8 DSLRs. Let's see, all at a price I could afford. My cheapest, the D50, great low res internet pictures. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I want to mention D850 wasn't a high megapixel photography camera. Okay. It was actually a perfect hybrid DSLR, but missing video AF. So that's why it never got popular for video. Z8 should be a perfect hybrid camera. Yes. I agree. And I did some video with my D850 back in the earlier part before I actually bought my first mirrorless. And yeah, F mount lenses and the autofocus in the D850 for video, and it just made for a miserable time. I had to fix focus and just lock it down. I couldn't depend on autofocus. It would hunt, and of course, with the F mount lenses, they were so noisy, you couldn't mount a mic on camera. But we're past that now. Now it's time for Nikon to bring all the greatness to the Z series. D850 for 2,500, good deal. Absolutely, Mike. Absolutely. Yeah, I think he's talking, Roy, more about just the video aspects. It had great for the time. It had great video possibility, but with the autofocus in the camera in the video mode now and the F mount lenses, that just kind of turned everybody off. It really couldn't. If you were pulling focus with that camera, yes, you could do great things with it. But most people are one man shows, and it's difficult to pull focus and do everything else you want to do, as you know. Uh, oh, this is interesting, Albert. Many photographers are switching back to DSLR cameras because they dislike mirrorless cameras. Too digitized look in the mirrorless, I guess, and the lenses are too sharp for certain portrait photographers. I agree with you, and I agree with the sharpness, and that's why I don't buy into everybody. They're going to buy a lens based on DxO and everybody else's uh, review and about sharpness and everything else. You've got people putting soft filters or like the black mist filters in the front of the lens now just to drop the sharpness and give it a more portrait look or cinema look. I agree with you. And I think that's what Jaspree's talking about, taking the Z9 and being able to take all the capabilities in the Z9 and produce some cinematic quality video with it. Of course, Jaspreet's more oriented on the video side, but that also goes with portraits. So, yeah, I agree.
We got to get him to share some of his videos, Chuck, on the channel.
Yeah, I've checked. I mean, he's working with what he has, which is fantastic. And I don't think Jaspreet's put anything out new lately, but I love the fact that he was working with what he had.
Yep.
Uh, let's see. Yeah, many of the pros are still using DSLRs. Well, a lot of the pros too, especially if they invested in the D6, I don't imagine they're in any hurry to swap. They're going to get their money's worth out of that D6 before they even think about it. And it gives them time to watch the mirrorless line mature. So yeah, I can believe that, Roy. Why switch when I have what I need right now? So, where are the switches coming from or where the purchases come from? I go back to hobbyists. Hobbyists have probably bought more Z9s than pros.
Yeah, if you're a pro shooting a D5 or a D6 and you're doing sports, you're not shooting video of the sports anyway. It's on TV. You're doing the stills for Sports Illustrated and other magazines, and you're not that crazy with the video part yet. You don't need to be. So you're going to hang on to what you have.
Yeah. And this is about as far as we'll go down politics, but it's interesting. Ukrainians opened a Russian drone and they found a cannon inside. I was glad that it wasn't a Nikon Z, otherwise, they would have asked Nikon to rename Z mount. They literally canceled the Z later. Oh, man. That's interesting. Uh, Northern Kentucky, my homeland. Not northern Kentucky, but Kentucky. The waterfowl migrations were light this year. Not sure if warmer winter didn't force them to congregate in open water. Yeah, I don't know. And we had a weird winter up here. Well, not that it doesn't last forever, but in Connecticut, as you guys heard me complaining, it just took forever for winter to go away. We literally, I think, went from winter to summer this year up here. If you'd call it a spring, I wouldn't. But then again, I'm from a warmer climate growing up. But yeah, it was different. So I don't know. Maybe that has had something to do with it. Yeah, it's a good point. Um, Prefer Nikon, but I wouldn't make a Canon for target practice. Yeah, I like Canon too. I'm just a Nikon shooter at heart, though. Uh, Oh, this is interesting too. The fires here killed billions of wildlife. California could probably get into that too. California's fought some
Yeah.
massive wildfires out there. And you're right, that could have something to do with it. You think birds would be, all animals would be smart and try to get away from fire. Some can't, I know that. But birds, especially. However, if it's during a nesting season or something like that, man, that really hurts the population. Um, let's see. Mike's always vocal about his. I like it, Mike. I love it. Don't care about video. Would never get rid of my Z6 II until the Z8 comes out and see what it offers. I will keep my D810. D810 is a great camera. I had it, and I'm a hobbyist, so I went from D800, D810 to D850. I didn't need to. I just wanted to. But everybody doesn't have to do that. But the D810 is a great camera. Uh, and the D810 came without the filter.
The anti-aliasing filter.
Yes,
That
yes.
it?
So
Yeah.
it is incredibly sharp. And that was a complaint when the D850 came out that it had the aliasing filter in it, anti aliasing
Yeah.
filter in it. So, yeah. Uh, So let me move on here a little bit. Nikon should start selling birds. Raise your own birds for photos.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or you do a PR thing. You say for every, how they say, some places say, well, if you buy this, every one of these widgets will plant a tree. You know how you say you buy an
yep.
icon, we'll give you a bird.
There you
Not
go.
give you the bird, but we'll give you a bird.
Yes, we will produce a bird in your name or raise a bird in your
Raise a
name.
bird, yeah.
Mike, as far as chemical poisoning goes, I know it still exists, but it's nothing like it was, as you know, back in our younger days. They have cleaned up so much, and also they've gone so far with it that now it costs us money. I get so tired of EPA with some of their. I agree with some of what they do, but they gave that department way too much power, and it has created havoc in a lot of places. I know in the military, from the military viewpoint, a lot of our training areas, we were forced to not use because of a woodpecker or because of a turtle or a tortoise or whatever. And I think they went overboard. Actually, in Kentucky, nesting eagles, this has been 30 years ago, because they had a eagle nesting in one of the bays. You couldn't get within a half mile of that bay. You couldn't fish there. You couldn't go there. You couldn't take a boat there. And they had actually arrested folks that were fishing. Well, I shouldn't say arrested, but taking their boat, their truck, everything away from them over fishing in one of those zones. And I think it was a bit much because, again, that was just going a bit too far, because we see eagles and ospreys. I mean, they nest on piers. So it's not people that bother them or whatever. But anyway, it can go too far. Yeah, I remember DDT, and of course that was actually halted. So I think we've made great strides in cleaning up chemical issues, because now when they find a factory that is allowing drainage of anything into tributaries or groundwater systems or whatever, they immediately go after them, lock them down, and everything else. That wasn't the case back when we were younger. I mean, factories dumped all their everything into rivers and tributaries. And I remember when the Ohio River was so nasty, you couldn't even expect to catch a fish in it. But now it's completely different. So I think they've made great strides. I don't know if chemicals, and they may still have some effect, but I don't know that if that's the answer to the question right now. Where are all of the birds? So my rant over. Sorry, guys. Um, there you go. John talking about, just went and looked at some of the photos I shot on my 750. They were stunning, stunningly sharp, crisp, really beautiful, hard to get rid of. I love the mirrorless focusing, but yeah, I hear you, John. And it's just a matter of when everybody wants to transition. But yes, DSLRs, and I don't think anybody's going to debate that. DSLRs have been fantastic. You can't take away everything that DSLRs have done. So hang on.
No, the funny thing is when it's not like somebody flipped a switch and all of a sudden DSLRs turned into junk. I mean, some people kind of try to make it out that way, but DSLRs are fantastic. There's nothing wrong with them, and really it just comes down to, well, as we say, many of us say, your use case. And if you're going to be big into video, then yeah, you're going to lean a different way. But other than that, for stills, phenomenal cameras. My D850 takes just as good pictures stills wise as my Z9.
Yep. So I don't think that mirrorless was developed because it has better quality. It can take better quality photos. It's just for the simplicity of taking some of those photos, especially in the wildlife and birding arena or whatever, with the new autofocus systems. But I got to tell you, and I love my Z9. So here you go. I'll be honest. I don't think any camera I've owned has taken, or at least the quality of the photos has been better than my D4. I absolutely love the photos coming out of the D4. And every camera has a little bit of tweaking going on in the color science by Nikon. I know it stays relatively the same, but there's just a quality of the photo that I got from my D4 that was just fantastic. I don't know why, but it was, at least to my eye. So there you have it. And the Z9 isn't as good as the D4 was, in my opinion, and neither was the D5. So John says in Phoenix, Arizona, they have a lot more birds in the city than in the last 70 years. So, that's interesting. Again, is it that maybe migration changed a little bit, but seems like a lot of places are experiencing fewer birds.
I
And we'd
think
really have to get
all those
into this
right.
conversation in a roundtable and talk about what type birds too.
They're eating all those French fries from McDonald's in the city.
There you go. There you
That's why.
go. Roy talking about the video was so bad in his D850 that he bought a Z6 just for video. Exactly. Exactly. I had no problems with my DSLRs other than in video, it wasn't near as easy or as good as with the autofocus in video and the mirrorless cameras. Uh,
So, what is the Nikon USA event today? Because I haven't been able to keep up with stuff because I've been out shooting too much. So, I'm missing some of the stuff that's going on.
yeah.
I don't know what they're doing today.
So, Albert, I didn't know that they'd found a bunch of dead eagles. So, the avian flu, which you brought up too, Jeff,
Yeah.
could be a contributor here, but how big a contribution would it make to all species? Uh, uh, Changing the water dragon. Let's see. I'll just throw this up here because it's interesting coming from around the world here. The ecosystem Punjab, they literally ignored riparian law and changing the water direction of the Punjab rivers. In 2 to 3
Mhm.
decades, it will turn purple into a desert or turn Punjab into a desert. Wow. Everybody has an idea, I guess. Governments like that. They think they know what's best for everybody.
You know what I'm surprised at is, well, I guess because there's probably no money in it and things are not bad enough yet, but you would think eventually we have to be able to have desalinization plants and start getting fresh water from salt water for drinking and everything because water, well, look at California. They don't have any water. I'm surprised they have water to even put out any forest fires.
California's battled that for so long
Yeah.
too, and
Yeah.
and there is a great water battle that goes on out there that it doesn't. It includes several surrounding states too.
Yeah.
So yeah. So saw an article. Yeah, we were talking about that Moz man. I don't know what's going on there. It's interesting. Need to track that down and find out if it's one source or where the information is from or whatever, just to see what's going on. I know that in the financial report, Gray's just dropped another video last night, my time, watching it somewhat this morning before I started this. And they were talking about that as well. So interesting. Maybe the mirrorless hype has settled down or wearing off. Could be, could be. Anything's a possibility. Um, and Mike's saying this is, yeah, all these are correct answers for diagnosis because it could be any one of them or any one of these or all of them put together. Uh, let's see. So here's Albert's addition to the conversation. It's mostly portrait photographers that are returning to DSLR cameras over mirrorless cameras, although this is not the cause of or case in the other categories of photography. Yeah, and I can see a strictly portrait photographer, unless he just has to have the eye detect, would be happy with a DSLR. Especially those of us that grew up that way, spent most of our time shooting that way with DSLRs. Yeah, I could do portraits with my D850 all day long. Just go back to exactly what I did before: focus, recompose, and shoot. Uh, Talking about wildfires, Roy down in Australia, 200-mile fronts here. Wow, the birds can escape but then starve. Okay, so there you go. I hadn't considered that. It burns up all their food source. Um, um, let's see. I don't know if I don't remember when it started and seeing that, but I couldn't even speculate whether it was a Z9 because I didn't see that footage or anything. Jeff talking about from D51 7200 to D500. One of the D850 was ready to buy. However, like today, the D850 was not to be found for a year after introduction. D500 came up used locally. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second when we're talking about the chip shortage and everything else. So now we're back to Nikon production because there was no chip shortage. There was no parts shortage. There was no logistics challenges in moving equipment or goods. and yet it took Nikon forever. I know the demand was high because it is a fantastic camera, but what did Nikon do to lessen the blow on production? Nothing. So, are we seeing the same thing? Is this just typical Nikon refusing to enlarge their production or whatever? And why so? We keep talking about Nikon, it's such a small company. Well, this would have been a lesson learned here, you would think, right? I thought the same thing with the D800, that they would have learned their lesson, but they didn't. So I don't know what goes on with Nikon, but you're absolutely right,
Yeah.
Jeff.
Well, and this is when they had the plants in Japan that were open. So they had higher manufacturing capability at the time. So, I don't know. Sometimes you wonder if they don't want to satisfy the demand on purpose to keep the price point high. I don't know. Maybe they're afraid if they
Yeah.
put out too many, then they have to lower the price to get rid of them. I don't know what their thinking is. It's just kind of squirrely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here you go. I believe that, Ray, because here in America they still do. They still shut down a lot of training area because, and it's gotten ridiculous though. Again, too much power goes to the heads of those that are stupid or evil. It's got to the point where even certain weeds, and literally they're a weed that grow in a particular area, but they've listed it as threatened or something. Well, who cares? And there's no link to how it supports the ecosystem other than it's a weed, and we may see the last one in the next 50 years. But yeah, definitely go there for wildlife because the military can't use it to train in anymore. You can't drive in it, you can't walk in the area. It's just crazy. Uh, Nat Geo. I love the how many people watch the Planet Earth and Blue Planet series.
Uh, I'm hooked on all. I still watch all that stuff on
I
TV.
I love it, but I get
Uh,
tired of the constant preaching to me how everything's going to die. There's a natural process for a lot of species, and it's just the way it is. And I won't get into why I believe that, but because it's not, for everybody. Keep politics, religion, and what else out of conversations, and you'll be happy. Let's see. Let me go. I'm going to skip you guys. I hate to, but I'm going to skip on down. Let's get to some more comments that over the last few minutes.
Mike says the eye detect's the only reason why a portrait shooter would really like the mirrorless. I'll politely disagree with that because your portrait shooter isn't running around in the studio. They're stationary. Even if you're moving the focus point manually onto the eye, it's not a big deal. You're not in a race against time. You're staging the event. You're positioning the person where you want. You're taking your time. It's not like you're capturing action. So I mean, a DSLR is more than adequate for any kind of portrait work, in my opinion.
Yeah, but a lot of people. So here at the end, I was going to mention some of the folks that I've watched and really helped me out when I got going here on YouTube. T Mid, Tay Keys, SJ Square Space, or SJ Square, not Space, Photo Me Ike, Anthony Toglife, and Ryan Troy. Look at their shooting style now. They've adapted a new style of shooting using the back screen, the LCD, where they hold the camera out in front of them. And this is where that eye detect comes in. And, for them, their flow, it definitely adds to. Again, I can go back to focus, recompose, and shoot. I'm not shooting that fast. But for those that want to do that, then I understand why they've gone mirrorless, especially with the face and eye detection. Although with the D850 and the last firmware update, it does a pretty good job of face detection now. I think the last time I shot it, obviously it doesn't have any eye detect in it. Um, but I never counted on the continuous autofocus with the DSLRs. I know some people did in the D5 and D6 and talk about it, but I don't think it comes close to what we're getting in the mirrorless. So um, this is interesting too. Yeah, Ray, I noticed them hinting about the lack of stock in Europe, but they also broke it down by sales, I guess, and the largest selling regions got the bulk of the Z9 shipments. Now, that's not that's not population, but buying uh, power for each region. So I don't know. I know they weren't exactly happy about it, but they did bring it up. And I did notice that Europe seemed to be getting fewer shipments than the U.S. And while the U.S. is doing okay, if you consider it okay where we're at in our shipping for the Z9s, I had said on a few of the live streams that it seems like Asia is getting a large number of shipments, greater numbers than anywhere else. And it's not just China, it's within Asia itself. So I don't know. I don't know what their methodology is for deciding how they're shipping and what numbers to what regions.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Gray's was being treated horribly in terms of
Yes.
inventory on the Z9. I mean, they would talk about, oh, we got our shipment of one the other day, type of thing. They're
Yep.
getting them one at a time, maybe two at a time, and that's ridiculous.
Yep. Oh, let's see. So, Mike, there is, and again, this has been the cry that I've had going to Nikon, talking about let's continue the momentum, but there is a huge gap. And people are saying, well, no, there isn't, but I beg to differ. There is a gap between the flagship and everything else that Nikon has out there. And a lot of people that want to argue that point with me are just a portrait shooter. Okay, I get it. You're good. But, that's not everybody shooting Nikon. If you're a portrait shooter or a landscape shooter, that Z7 II is probably fantastic. That's all you need. That's all you care about. Well, see, I care about more than just what I want. I'm hoping that Nikon will help us all out. So, but you're right. There is this gap out there, and that's why I keep harping on the Z8. Watch, the Z8 will turn out to be a uh, APS-C camera,
I
and
was
then,
waiting for you to say that, Chuck. I was just waiting.
and
I
then
was,
I'm gonna throw a tantrum because I am a petulant child, by the way.
I'll have to send you some medication ahead of time.
Yep, yep, yeah. Species are dying quicker now than any time in history. Yeah, Roy, I agree. I agree. But I see. I still go back to we have cleaned up the environment so much. So what's the cause now? I know a lot of people are saying habitat. I don't know. I don't know, man. Yeah, and AF
I,
is mostly for wildlife and sports. Agreed.
I mean, I see your point, Chuck, with what you said. I mean, if you have a photographer, say, trying to track a ballerina or a dancer, then the eye autofocus is definitely going to help for that type of shoot.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. If it's out there, everybody wants it. Everybody
Yeah.
wants it in their body. I want it in the lowest denominator in the Nikon lineup, uh, just to continue to attract people. Doesn't mean we'll get it, but I think that there are people that are content with what they have. They have exactly what they need. They don't need anymore. They don't need the autofocus, or they don't need this or that, and they're content. And they can also be very vocal about, why do you need it? I don't need it. You don't need it either. Roy talking about holding the camera out. I agree with you, Roy, but a lot of people are doing it now. You see a lot of people doing that now. I'm with you. Maybe it's the way we grew up. I don't know. My dad and my grandfather always had a better technique than me. Mine was never as good as what they did, no matter what we were doing. Getting behind again. Uh, and
Uh,
now here you go. This is in response to Jaspreet's comment. But the next camera is going to be, the camera needs to really pad the bottom line.
yeah. Fifth,
Pre-order
Fifth
thing.
Sense 81 says, will you still buy a Z8 if APS-C? My answer is no. There, I'll be blunt.
Seems to be the home market first. I guess that's in response to the Asia, getting the preponderance of the shipments of Z9s. Yeah, I don't know. But remember, going into this, we heard the rumors that China had more pre-orders than the rest of the world combined. That was a rumor, but maybe now we find that it's true. It's hard to believe that China outbought the rest of the world when it comes to a flagship camera. Pretty amazing. It tells you how much of your money's going to China, folks, which is another point we ought to start talking about too. I'm addicted to the lower price of a lot of Chinese stuff. I will admit. But you know what? I'm going to try to do better and look for USA made products, and that's hard to do because we quit working in this country. But look for USA and other markets, and not buy so much from China. And not to get political, but Elon Musk just talked about, in 20 years, China, if we continue down this path right now, China could be three times the um, oh shoot, their GDP will be three times larger than the U.S. Uh, because we're all getting used to buying, and their goods have come up in quality. I will say that not all goods, but some things coming out of China have great quality, but you can still find a lot of Chinese junk out here in the market that people are buying. So just consider that if you can buy US or maybe others, trying to get away from some of the silly Chinese stuff. Sorry, China. Let's see. Will I still buy a Z8 if it's APS-C? No, no.
So
I
you
have,
got two no's. You got two no's.
yeah, no, no. I won't. But I'll wait to see what the camera that I'm waiting for is my second camera body to carry with the Z9, and that's what I'm hoping for. And it's not just for me. I'm not in a super hurry to get it. I'm in a hurry for Nikon to get it out here in the market, because we are losing Nikon shooters for that reason. Whether anybody wants to believe it or not, we are. And Nikon needs to do something about it. Uh, let's see. Um, uh, Nikon makes a Z8 APS-C, then I'll go to Japan and insert it in them. Yeah, good on you, Roy. I don't think Nikon needs to worry about APS-C right now. And, it's a tough call. We keep talking about this too. Entry level for an entry shooter into the Nikon system. Um, it's a tough call. How many cheap cameras do you need to make to get people interested in Nikon? Let's stick with one or two at the max, and let's continue to build up from there. The D3000, the D5000, those two series. There wasn't a lot of difference between the 3000 and 5000 other than a price. Uh, then we had the D7000 series, which actually was pretty good. It was a good series of cameras. A lot of people shot with them and still shooting with the 7000 series cameras. But we have that now in the Z6 series of cameras. The Z5, yes, it needs an update and it can be the entry level into full frame. And I would suggest to anybody, if you're going to start out in photography nowadays, unless you just want the cheapest way in or whatever, don't go APS-C, because you're going to invest in lenses and things that are not going to carry over when you do decide to go full frame. Go full frame right off the start. Yes, it costs a little more, save a little longer, and go that route, because now you're building your gear that's going to last you a lifetime. Just my thoughts on that. See, I got talked into APS-C by someone else. Told me I didn't need full frame, and I listened instead of thought about it. Just listened to them. So I invested in a D 300S initially, and then found out I wanted the D700 more. And now I've got the D300S with some glass, and it just took away from me buying glass for my D700. So there's enough whining for me. Not an APS-C fan. Nothing wrong with it other than it takes away from you really investing in your future, unless you plan to stay there. Oh, already did that. Okay, moving on. Moving on. Yeah, talking about this arm's length thing. Yeah, a lot of them are doing it now. It's become the thing. Yeah, coming from a cell phone, very possibly. I don't know what it is, what the desire is there, but and at my age, my eyesight now, I can't see the screen from that far an arm's length away anymore. So,
No, I
uh,
mean if you take a photo course somewhere or have taken a photo course somewhere, I mean, you're trying to keep your elbows into your body, the camera right up to your face. If you need to, you're really pressing it against your face to keep it steady, especially if you're trying to push it, taking shots at a very low shutter speed. So, I mean, you can do anything you want. Obviously, if you're floating it around with your arms sticking out, you're going to have to bump up that shutter speed a little bit. Otherwise, you're not going to get the results you want.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the photography courses are teaching now. I wonder if
Yeah.
they're harping on that.
Well, I knew a guy who was a great photographer. Unfortunately, he passed away not too long ago, and he had a Sony camera, and it was funny the thing could focus so good. I swear to God, he would sometimes a flock of birds would go by in flight. He wouldn't even put the camera up to his face. He'd just lift it up, snap a few pictures, and you'd get a great shot. I mean,
I need that talent.
like you wanted to like, yeah, I'm gonna next time you do that, I'm gonna hit your camera with a baseball bat.
Yep. Roy, I brought your comment up because you're exactly right. I remember those days too, talking about junk out of Japan,
Yeah.
and look where Japan is now. So yeah, you're right. You're right. And Mike, I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. Uh, uh, here you go, talking about in the uh, in the studio. My favorite model moves so fast I can get 20 poses in 5 minutes. She's 5 years old, so the eye autofocus in my mirrorless Z camera is great. There you go, buddy. There you go, John. Absolutely. Mozman, USA made. Yes. Uh, yep. Instead of $125 for a lens foot, they're about 65 on average. Yep. It's just hard to pass up the, if there's any quality to it and it's cheaper, it's hard to pass that up, isn't it? Uh, yeah, I know, Jaspreet. You shot video on your D7000 too. Yeah, is a good camera. I know. Ronald, good to see you in here, buddy. Good to see you. I know you, man. You're a man on the move. You're always out and about shooting. I love what you're shooting here lately too. By the way, hey, mentioned you earlier talking about you and Ryan Troy and all you guys. It kind of helped me out when I started going here, and I want to mention all you guys so I can return the favor. But good to see you in here, SJ. And I did comment on your latest video, but I love your content. Keep it going, man. Keep it going. Nikon only made 3 to 4 good DX lenses. I don't know. I mean, you would know, Roy, and others would know. Only thing I cared about was the not the kit lenses for DX, but the was it the 17 to 55 or something like that? I actually had that lens and I did like it. Uh,
I think they sold a lot of it. What was it, the 18 to 200?
yeah.
Yeah, I think they sold a lot of those. I mean,
Yeah. And I mean,
I had a D, 100, 200, and 300. So it's not like I didn't shoot APS-C, but I haven't in a long time.
yeah. Yeah, Jasper, you're right. It's once you get into a full frame, then not just difficult to get out of, but it's a lifetime investment. I mean, it can be just depending on how often you want to um, upgrade or whatever. Talking about shoot my like a rifle. Yeah, I'm still a eye to the eyepiece shooter. There are times, obviously, with video, that rear screen is the hit. Uh, Jeff.
Yeah, I wish I got paid like a Nikon official. Yeah, they get free advertising from me. I should
Yep.
get I should get a kickback.
Holding cameras like you hold guns in movies. Yep. There you go. So I saw your other comment there, Moz, man, and went back and looked and found it. Uh, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Not a lot of life in here today for me, I guess. Sorry about that. I need to let Jeffrey take over for a minute and
Uh-oh, that's a bad deal for
17
everybody.
to 55. Yeah. Yeah, it was a good lens. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed using it on my 300S. Uh, T-Mid in here too. All right. Just dropping by to give a like, Chuck. Thanks, man. Catch the replay like number 15. All right, man. Appreciate that, T-Mid. And I hope you're having a good day at work. I know you're a working man. So thanks for dropping by. There you go. Jaspreet. I need a strong masala tea. I don't even know what that is, Jaspreet, but I mean, I'm just now finishing my first pot for the day of coffee, so maybe tea would be better. All right, folks. All right. Let me go refill my coffee cup now that I've said that. Actually, I have enough in there for a half a cup and get rid of this pot. Albert saying only Fujifilm. And you know what? Fujifilm does do a good job. Their cameras are great cameras. I don't know how you feel about it, Jeff, but I think, again, like I said, if there's colors that I like compared to Nikon, Fujifilm is definitely up there. That's probably my second favorite color science in a camera.
I really like them. I mean, my only I like the style of the bodies. I like the what people would call the retro look. I mean, nobody really does it better than them. Uh, I just sometimes, depending on the model, my hands are too big for it. You know,
Yeah.
that's kind of my problem. But I love them. I mean, I think they're obviously very popular with street photographers. I mean, that don't want to walk around with something that says, "Hey, hit me over the head with a bat and steal my camera."
Yeah, Greg, I am moving. Just trying to get the house up to par, get it on the market. So I've been decluttering, and you know how troublesome that is. Going through because we are the keeper of the family heirlooms. You know, everything got dumped on us, so I've got to go through this, find out whether people want the stuff. Uh, I would prefer getting all my camera gear out of the house and flipping a match in the front door, but since that's illegal, apparently, I can't do it. I have to go through all this stuff, and that's been the decluttering issue. But yeah, moving, heading down to the Nashville, Tennessee area, not in Nashville, but the area there, and definitely will have more time to focus on what I enjoy doing, which is this and shooting. So, but I got to get this house out of the way. So just thought I'd answer that for you there. All right, Jeff, hold down the fort for a minute, folks. I will be right back. Let me go get my coffee and go to the little boys' room. I know you all wanted to hear that. When I come back, as soon as I get back, let's take some phone calls if you guys want. So I'll put the number up here real quick. And don't call until I get back, though, or the phone's just going to ring and ring. Jeff,
Yeah, I can't answer it.
that's right. Jeff, you have the con.
All righty. The I'll just mention I had some fun the other day. I went to a place called Brook Green Gardens. Mozman went there with me when he was down here. We didn't stay in there very long, but um, I brought my um, 24 to 120 f4 and a new 105Z macro lens, which I tried out for the first time. And both those lenses are just like out of this world for doing flowers and plants and close-ups of flower. It's amazing how close you can focus with that 24 to 120. I'm probably gonna put some of those photos either in my photos of the week that I do on my channel, or I might even make a video out of it. But and the macro lens was like stunningly sharp. So unfortunately, down here, some of these places, I don't know, like where you folks live, a lot of botanical gardens and things like that that are open to the public, they don't open up early in the morning. You know, they don't may not open up till one down here isn't until 9:30. And if you're just a shooter by yourself, and a lot of these places don't allow you to use tripods, they have narrow paths. They don't want you blocking paths, people having to go around you, so they don't allow you to use tripods. So it's not like you're out in a field somewhere, you could set up your tripod, you could put one of those articulating arms on it and hold up a diffusing panel and, you know, cut down on the light when it's mid-morning or what have you. So a one-man show is hard, and you basically end up doing quite a bit of, you know, I'd say underexposing to make sure you don't blow the highlights. And that's all you can do. And then you have to, you know, fool around with it a little bit in post, maybe a little more than you'd like. But that's what happens when you're shooting at 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. You know, try to find flowers and stuff that are in partial shade. You know, you try to do that, or sometimes even in full shade. But I just wish some of these places would open up to make it more user friendly for a lot of us photographers that want to get that early morning kiss of light, you know, when within that first hour of sunrise. And unfortunately, that's not how these places operate. be interesting to hear what you guys experience when it comes to that type of photography. You know, when do these places open where you live? It's great if you bring a friend with you and you could take turns holding a diffusion panel up, but when you're by yourself, it doesn't work out too good. Does anybody know what the Nikon webinar is today that Since 81 is talking about? I'm assuming that's on I believe, the Nikon USA website. Yeah, Roy, I honestly, I have not tried focus stacking. I have read a ton of articles on photo stacking. I have read where, well, could be a conspiracy theory. I don't know, but some people will take pictures of bugs and they'll put them in their refrigerator, slow them down, or sometimes they'll use dead bugs and plant them on a flower or whatever, because it's trying to stack something that's moving around. To me, doesn't seem like it would work very well. I mean, even if you focus stack um, landscape images, if you have a breeze and the trees are moving in the wind or what have you, I'm not sure how well that works out. I mean, maybe you guys can comment on that. I know down here there always seems to be a breeze in Myrtle Beach, so when you go to the gardens or whatever to take pictures, you're you got to crank up the shutter speed a little bit because everything's moving all the time. I could see focus stacking working well if you have like in a studio setup where you're shooting flowers that are in a vase. Obviously you may not be putting the vase in the picture, but you're focus stacking on a stationary subject that isn't going to get affected uh, by wind, and you can control your lighting. I would think that would be really great to use.
We're just speaking about birds and the lack thereof, but I know of one red-bellied woodpecker that I'd like to see go by way of uh, a predatory bird. So while I'm up to, refresh the coffee and go to the little boy's room, I hear him up on the eave again, chasing carpenter bees that now I have a problem with and been trying to get rid of them. So it's just one thing after another. There's the ecosystem.
Yeah. You want your red-bellied woodpecker to go belly up.
Yes, yes. He's been a constant problem. Well, up until we sprayed for the bees recently. So I hate to get rid of some of the bees, but I can't let them eat my house up. It's just one thing after another. All right. Didn't mean to break your train of thought there talking about focus stacking, but I see SJ Squared talks about he uses it with landscape sometimes. I could see where that would be really handy, foreground and uh, getting the foreground and everything else in focus.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of tricks you can do with that. Like if you were trying to say you're trying to shoot a beach scene, you have a pier, you got the waves coming in, and of course, you're going to have the waves in different positions. And I saw a video that somebody did, and they used some fancy stuff in Photoshop because you had to try to make it so the wave action didn't look really fake. But I don't know. For me, I guess I don't necessarily have the patience to spend that kind of time on one picture to make it look that perfect.
Oh, So I see we got some new names in our chat, and I think that's great. I really appreciate you guys jumping into the chat. And I don't know if you've been watching from afar on the other live streams, but good to see you in here posting comments. Again, that's what it's all about here. We all share with each other. I wish there was a way you could put everybody in voice wise and everybody, but then again, it would be probably impossible to control. Uh,
Well, especially if they start rioting, you could have a riot going on. Hit a hot button topic and cause a riot.
Yeah, and again, that's something I talked to Photography about or Vahagan. It would be easy to do to just be one of those controversial people. I'm probably controversial enough, but posting clickbait and complaining about everything, become the angry photographer, take his place. Especially if I started hating Nikon for no apparent good reason.
Yeah, you'd have to rename your channel Angry Chuck.
Absolutely. Yeah. Angry Chuck.
Angry Chuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that, Mike. Yeah, please do hit the like button. It continues to motivate me to keep doing it. You guys being in here really is the motivator, and all the conversation that goes on. So I see there's still some interest in some video. Frame Voyager expressed a desire to come back in. So I'm going to set that up here pretty soon. I know that a lot of people don't care about the video, but it seems we got a mix in the crowd. I do care about the video, even though I'm not shooting it yet. I just need to continue to learn more, and I learn more from you guys in the chat every time we do a live stream. So Nikon Rumors posted that Z9 is the top selling full frame Q1 22. Yeah, it should be, I guess.
I think what's killing them is they have to get it in people's hands. They have to get
Yes.
products in people's hands. And as much as Chuck, I agree 110% with you. We need a Z8. We need that, fill in that gap. But I wish they would announce something to get people excited, keep the excitement level up. But the bottom line is you can't just talk. You have to produce and you have to get it in people's hands. Otherwise, people are not going to be patient and they're going to jump ship because they're not going to wait a year to get something.
Greg doesn't fail to mention they haven't made his D800 or his 800 mil yet. I hope it comes faster than you think, Greg. I really do. So, were you happy, Jaspreet, with Chris's comment, Chris Hirschman's comment about he'd like to see a box camera from Nikon? Or were you in there? I can't remember. I think you were in the chat. And there you go. SJ Square, they need an announcement ASAP. So there are ways that they could market this and make it work. They could actually leak some rumors and get that started, and then they can continue to talk about it, let it continue to build until they have the stock ready to begin shipping. I mean, there are a lot of ways to make that work, but just the fact that we don't know anything hurts.
Well, look at the marketing campaign for the Z9. I mean, they just put just enough out there to get you going, and then it was like a slow drip, 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 drip. A little more information, a little more excitement, build it up, build it up. They actually did a pretty good job marketing it, but unfortunately, they're not doing the best job delivering it.
Yeah, and they gave us the announcement, the production announcement back in March of last year, and then we sat on that forever. And what would have been nice is they gave us the marketing announcement, and they were already in production. Everything but the firmware. That would have been nice and built up the stock to actually allow more deliveries early on. And again, maybe they're trying to take a different approach with the Z8 or whatever the next camera is going to be. I don't know, but it would be nice to think that they could get more bodies in hands once they do officially announce. I agree. But I don't know what the answer is, but I mean, Nikon continues to lose people, maybe not in droves, but lose people every week because they're not going to buy the flagship, but they want the flagship capability. And Nikon should do something about that and let us know, not just us loyal Nikon fans, but for everybody else to know that Nikon is on the ball and they're moving forward and offer a system to move into. Um, Jaspreet, compared to the Z6 II, what kind of changes would you like to see in the Z6 III or Z8 body? Well, it's easy for me because I've already stated what I'd like to see Nikon do. It doesn't mean it's the right thing, but what I'd like to see is the Z6 III become the super hybrid for all those that are just, that would be the entry level into having a hybrid. So you have both the stills and the video, but heavy on the video side in that body. And then, and I won't talk about uh, the sensor. You know, I think 33 megapixels somewhere in there would be great. Um, but the Z8 being the all rounder again, the D850 ish type body that sits right underneath the Z9. So it gives you most of the capability of the Z9 without killing the Z9. That's what I'd like to see. How about you, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, I don't know. You could do, you know, 6K oversampled 4K. You can still try to do, make sure you at least have the 20 frames per second, maybe 30, depending on what your sensor size is going to be. But if you're going to look at it as a as a D850 replacement, you're going to have to keep it at that 45.7 megapixel sensor. I don't know that you need to go larger than that. I know some people are larger is better, with the sensor size, but um, you can probably get rid of that 120 frames per second. You're going to have to dumb down certain things to make it that $3,800 price range. You're not going to be able to take everything from a Z9 and put it in there. I think the
Right.
body should be bigger than a Z7 too for heat sinking capabilities for video, but not necessarily as big as a Z9. But I think you have to have 85% of a Z9, let's say, in that Z8, and you got to price it right, and then you'll have another home run on your hands, and you won't be able to keep up with that either.
Yeah, so Nikon's got an issue in production, period, and it
Yeah,
has it doesn't all have to do with the chip shortages and logistics and everything else. It's just Nikon has a problem they need to figure out if they really want to. You know, why wouldn't a company want to sell more product? And so it may just come back to Nikon doesn't care about being the largest manufacturer out there. And if that's the case, I know they're not going to make a statement saying that, but maybe it's something that we have to just assume is the case. Because again, every model they brought out that's been a showstopper, the D800, and then when they got to the D850, they've had problems actually getting it into the hands of the consumer. So this goes beyond just a chip shortage, in my opinion.
yeah.
Nikon just has to make an effort to just decide that we're going to ramp up more production. Gray's talked about this morning that they have finally completed their uh, revamping the corporate side of the house and all their manufacturing and everything else. So maybe now they're at a point where they can consider what's the next step we're going to take. And it definitely needs to be on the production side of the house, in my opinion.
Now, what's good is their profit report looks good,
Yeah.
much improved, and continuing to be steady at least. I guess they're predicting the same level of profit for you know this year, which started, I think, the new fiscal year for them was probably April 1st, I believe, of this year. Um, and that's a good thing because hopefully that frees up. They reinvest and they put a little more money in the R&D, and they put some more money in their manufacturing capabilities. And
Right.
I mean that's obviously a win-win for us. But they did have to get their books on the right side of the ledger, as they say. That had to happen, and it has. So now that they're doing pretty good, and things look good for the future money wise, then they can start stretching things out a little bit and investing a little more money, whether it be manufacturing capabilities and or new bodies.
Yep. Yep. And here's a comment by Roy talking about hate to lose the EL18 battery on the Z8. I think we're going to have to. So does that mean if we want a stronger battery, Nikon develops another slim battery, moving away from the EL15, which is in all the other cameras? I don't know. I don't see them making the body big enough for the larger battery. But who knows? They could surprise us. I don't know how that would go over either. It may go over well, it might not, because we're still whining about everything's too heavy. Not you and I or us here, but so many people complaining it's so heavy. And you don't want to get me going down that path again. And here talking about 33 to 47 megapixel sensor size. Yeah, I think as long as we get in the Z6 III now, I think as long as it gives us strong 4K, that's enough. Leave the 8K for the prosumer body like the Z8 and the flagship. Yeah, there may be a few that complain, but give us strong 4K in that hybrid model Z6 III, and I think it's a hit because right now 4K is the go-to format because everybody can watch 4K video now. 8K is coming, no doubt about it, but the only thing you get out of it right now is the ability to crop more with 8K. So I just think that that would be the best bet for them. And the Z7 III, by the way, make that a very strong stills capable camera for the studio and um, commercial photography and landscapers. I think that would be great. That's where the high megapixel, if they're going to do one, and a lot of people are wanting even more megapixels. I think that's the camera to do it with is Z7 III. Make it 60 megapixels, 80 megapixels, 100 whatever they're going to do, and make all the landscapers and studio shooters happy. So but then you have a solid tier of cameras to look at. What's your need or what's your desire? A super hybrid for video, more video oriented, a super studio camera or landscape camera, or a all rounder like the D850. And then, of course, you got the flagship. I think that rounds out a strong uh, set of cameras that anybody can choose from. And it does give you a not so expensive entry level for video work with that Z6 III. Just my opinion. Yours may differ.
Well, the thing is with, some people say, well, I want the 8K, and so I can have way oversampled 4K, and it gives me the latitude to make color adjustments or this, that, or the other. And that's fine, but unless you're paying extra money for your YouTube channel, I mean, the default is they're going to downgrade it to HD. I mean, I'm shooting 4K video. I'm shooting 4K H.265 10-bit 4K 120, and I'm right
But
now.
you
I, I
can
don't.
upload 4K on YouTube.
I think you got to pay extra, don't you?
No, you can upload 4K on YouTube.
Okay, because automatically it's been downgrading it on me when I put it through to
Well,
H.
are you rendering it at 1080p or are you rendering it at 4K? Because what it does is it will initially drop your video at 1080p, and then as it continues to upload, it'll switch to 4K. if you're loading 4K video. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but I believe that's the way it is. The one video that I did, it wasn't 4K as soon as I dropped the video, but after I think it was 12 hours, it had upgraded it to full resolution 4K.
Yeah, mine shows it as it's going through the process. It comes up first as it says SD, and then eventually it then changes over to high def, and then it goes through that process for a while. But it's not giving me 4K, so maybe it's something I'm doing wrong,
Check your
which could
output.
be.
Yeah, check your output when you actually render the video. What are you rendering it in? 4K or HD or what?
Well, I'm saving it when I export it because it says they need an MP4 file. That's what I'm doing it when I export the file as an MP4 from Final Cut Pro. And maybe at that point it's not 4K anymore. Maybe it's 1080.
Yeah.
But I'll have to look into that some more. But the 1080 looks pretty good. But I certainly, if I got to pay extra money with no income coming in, I'm not going to do that right now.
So do you check everybody else's videos when you look at their video? Do you look to see what resolution it's in? Because when you go down and click the little gear icon to look at the different possibilities, it'll list all the. It may default immediately to HD, but it's also available in 4K. If you have it in auto, it should go to 4K if that's available.
Yeah, I'll have to look. I'll have to look more closely.
Roy, I think that the NEL15 will be the battery of choice for the Z8. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. They have made some improvements on the NEL15, so we'll have to see. But that would be one of those things that, again, we'd have to put up with. May not be. Now, they can fix that by adding the ability to shoot while using an external power source, i.e., through USB 3, uh, delivering power to the camera while it's in use. They're getting closer to that. Now we have the charging through USB. So maybe, just maybe, they could do that on a Z8. And then that kind of eliminates the issue of using the smaller batteries. Not as convenient, I would agree, but it might work. Uh, let's see.
Yeah, I agree with Roy Bixby's comment that he likes the balance on long lenses with the bigger bodies. I mean, that means something to me when I see, and not knocking brands, but when I see a small mirrorless body of any brand with a big honking 600 f4 or some large lens on it, to me that's just so out of balance. I mean, that would drive me crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jeff's talking about, I hope Nikon doesn't go down the D850 path and make us buy a battery grip to turn on key features like faster frame rate. I agree with that. I agree with you 100% there.
Yeah, it should have been 9 frames a second out of the gate, as they say. Not with buying the high capacity battery and the grip.
So, Jaspreet, what can you upload 6K to YouTube yet? I don't know. I know you can 4K, but I don't know about 6K. So I think the 4K is the standard, whether we like it or not now. And you're more in tune with the video than I am. Is 6K going to make that big a difference? Maybe it does. I don't know. You'd have to tell me. 8K, I don't think is a major issue just yet. Although having it in your prosumer bodies and the flagship bodies is an absolute must for marketing.
Yeah, I mean, other than the editing benefits of shooting 8K and being able to have the improved optimized 4K. A person looking at a 4K TV versus an 8K TV, your eyes can only see a certain level of resolution. And I think when you're getting to the 4K to 8K, I don't think most people, especially if you're wearing glasses like me, you're not going to tell the difference between watching it on a 4K screen versus an 8K screen. So to me, the 8K is more for the benefits it allows someone to do the editing more than the visual experience. And that's just my opinion.
So if it offers 6K oversampled 4K, I think that would be just fine too.
Yeah.
But 8K, I don't think we need to worry about that in that body. Again, if it's going to be a content camera, meaning it could be used for commercial purposes, video purposes, or a lot of other things, the Z6 III, if it had those specs, I think it'd be a showstopper. Yeah, keep the price right on it too, because that's going to motivate people that would otherwise say, I'm looking for a cheap camera, to say, no, I'm just going to go ahead and invest in this, knowing that I won't need to upgrade for a while to come. I think that's a great idea on the Z6 III. A lot of people are going to say, no, I want the Z6 III for stills only, or primarily stills, because I want the lower megapixel sensor for the noise reduction and so many other things. But I mean, there is no one size fits all. I think Nikon needs to look at what helps them grow right now. Um, us old timers definitely have our wants and desires based on what we've shot with for so long. Um, and just like Roy was saying, having a larger body definitely helps balance longer lenses, but that's only speaking to those that are shooting long lenses. It's not speaking to the person that's in the studio or whatever. So again, I don't know where the balance is, but Nikon needs to continue to research that, and really they need to make some decisions and get it out in our hands here before too long. I know that Jeff was talking about Nikon being a small fish in the pond with all the other manufacturers. I think that becomes an excuse more than anything. Nikon was at the top of the heap for so long, and then they were definitely just, they may have played second fiddle to Canon for a while in the DSLR range or of cameras, but they're still uh, a big manufacturer in cameras. So I don't think that Nikon needs to go down that path of, well, we're just a little guy and we'll just continue to innovate and try to get cameras out to people. So I think it's time for Nikon to grow then. If that's the case, it's time for Nikon to grow. You got to spend money to make money. That's just the way it works. Um, Trying to not get so far behind. Tay, hang on a minute and I'll send you the link. Mozman saying, check your rendering settings, Jeff.
Yeah.
JH, hello from Scandinavia. I saw you just subscribed. Thank you very much, sir. Hope you enjoy the show, and glad you made a comment here to let us know you're out there. And we welcome any of your comments or questions as well. So, with that said, I am going to post I'm going to skip a bunch of these for a second, and I am going to post the phone line. It's now open. If you guys want to call in, we'll go through that debacle, but at least you get to talk, say your piece. I just want to remind you to turn your volume down on your computer. There is latency, so you'll be speaking well ahead of hearing it in the feed. So just turn your volume down, talk. If you want to hang up after you ask a question or make a comment to listen to it, that's fine too. But the number is available, 475 256 2694. Jump on in here and talk to us rather than type so much if you like. Yeah, and I think that everybody wants this too. You don't want We don't want it to be outdated in the first 6 months of it, or actually even before it gets in the hands of the consumer. I agree. So I think that Nikon needs to, or I would like to see Nikon go down the path I just explained for each camera. But I think that the Z6 or shoot, the Z8 is the camera to come out first so that everybody that wants the flagship but can't afford it or don't want the big body will move into the new mirrorless body that does pretty much the same thing that the flagship does. Maybe not as fast. Although today I don't think speed frames per second is as big a deal as it was even in lower cost bodies with the new processors. So 8K workflow for YouTube videos is insanity. I would agree with you.
Yeah.
The expense of having to upgrade all your gear and the additional time it takes to work with the files take away from creating. I agree with you, Miles, man. I agree. It, there may be some that find it nice, but again, I go back to Nikon will have cameras that will work or shoot 8K, but I don't think it has to be every camera just yet. I really think the Z6 III becoming the content creators, video content creators, standby camera would be fantastic. Shoot, Sony does it with their models. We may or may not like the ergonomics or whatever of Sony, but they're doing a good job of spreading the wealth across the spectrum of their cameras from bottom to top.
Well, what are that? Look at all the videos on TikTok. Those are people just using they're using their phones. They're not shooting 8K. They're not shooting 6K.
Yeah.
It depends on how you're going to present your content and where you're going to present your content.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And we can't assume everybody's just buying a camera to produce YouTube content.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that are shooting video now. They're actually making money shooting video for, local businesses and things like that. So, yeah, a camera that can produce quality video. So you have the specs in the Z6 III, or you would have the specs in there to shoot quality, good 4K. And that's all that anybody you could expect would want. So, yeah, the 600 f4 in the Sony line, I know it's lighter. I've heard that from several people, so it may not make as big a difference. But again, long rider, I think this goes back to what we're used to. And I like the full body on a long lens as well. I can't tell you that it's better. I just can tell you that I like it better. But now Nikon's kind of heading down that road too with the 800. It looks like 800 PF, and also the 1 to 400. It actually has moving in the focal range. It actually redistributes weight within the lens. I don't know what they call it or can't remember, but I notice on my gimbal it does make a difference. It definitely makes a difference in keeping the balance on the gimbal. It's not perfect, but it's very small in its weight distribution as you move the focal point in and out from 1 to 400. It tries its best to maintain a balance on the gimbal, which I think is fantastic. Robert, missed the show. No, you haven't. We're still going, brother. Good to see you in here, man. You know better than that. If we shut down early, it's because Mama's telling me I got to get back to work in the house, but not today. I needed the break. We'll catch up. All right, man. Um, George talking about he's holding on to a Z7 too. Once I get the Z9 for wildlife with big lenses, the Z7 is great for landscapes and hiking with it. Absolutely, absolutely. And I've hung on to my Z6 one, the original, and that's what I'm shooting on right now for the live stream. Is it overkill? I don't think so. I love what it does for me in live streaming here. The autofocus now with the upgrade and everything else is fantastic. Have you guys seen any glitches when I've been live streaming in focus? I think it does a great job. So I'm hanging on to it. That's one camera that I'll continue to use for this purpose for a long time to come, so I don't tie up any other cameras. Uh, when 4K shows a small hair on a small pimple, you really want more? Yeah, I agree. I agree. Eventually, all the devices will have the ability to show you true 4 or true 8K. Not anytime real soon. I know there are some 8K TVs out there, but 4K is available to use on TVs and certain other things. So, yeah, that's the standard now, not just HD. Uh,
Well, that's going to be when somebody calls you up and says, "Well, I saw you on a video, 8K video, and I think you have skin cancer from what I can tell."
yeah, uh, yeah. Talking about I get they're lighter. I don't care for the smaller body. Yeah, and that's just going to come down to personal taste, and it's just like me and flippy screens. I don't want the flippy screen, but you know what? When if Nikon puts it on the Z8, I'm stuck with it. I just have to suck it up, Buttercup, and use it. It may not be my preference, but it's just one of those things. I hope you don't do that, Nikon. Save that for everything below the Z8. Uh, all right. All right. We got down to the bottom here. Uh,
Well, I
Jay,
don't think you do the flippy screen on any camera that you say is for the working pro unless you know 110% that that thing is so robust that it's not going to become the weak point of the camera.
yeah. And you know what? I'm not as worried about the durability because, I know that they're going to continue to make sure that it is durable. I just don't like looking to the side. I want it's a personal preference. I'll admit it. I just want the viewfinder to be in line with the sensor. Why is that an issue for me? I don't know. It's just one of those personal taste things.
Well, they have some of those flippy screens that also do a 180 that rotate. You know what I mean? So, like when
Yeah,
you're looking at the back of the camera, you don't see the screen at all. You have to pop it out, rotate it. You can place it back in, and then you see the
and
screen.
and that's fine
Yeah,
for but I can't tilt it up in
yeah,
that position. That's my issue. I actually like what Nikon's done with the ability to tilt the lens up and down in both portrait and landscape orientation. So that's just me again,
yeah.
what I want. Um, there you go. 8K TV's nice, but who broadcasts in 8K? Agreed, James, and that's exactly what we're saying. It's not a standard yet. It definitely isn't a standard. And as Mozman was saying, now you're going to go into the difficulties. Man, can you imagine 8K in RAW? The gee, many the
Everybody's going to have a server in their house.
yes, yes, and storage space. Man, oh
Uh,
man. Not that people won't do it. There will be people that will do it, and probably already doing it, but not me, man. I need to upgrade my storage before I even think about anything else. I keep saying that, but I need to do that so I can start archiving a lot more. Uh, Tay talking, preaching the benefits of living in North Carolina. Now I'll go along with some of that. I'll go along with some of that. Barbecue, though, no, I'm sorry. That's the tri-state area, including Tennessee, Kentucky, and actually, believe it or not, Texas. That's barbecue land down there. Um, Waiting for the link. All right, brother. I'm going to send you the link. I'm going to send you the link. Just a second, folks.
We could get into a big barbecue debate. Like you think grits was a hot topic?
Yeah.
Talk about barbecue sauces and whether vinegar-based sauces are better than you know what you typically get in Memphis.
Yeah. So here you go. Jeff talking about he'd be fine with the Z9 type rear screen or a flip screen. Yeah. I really like the screen on the Z9. I think they did a good job, the way it tilts and moves. But, and see, one of the things you dislike about your D500, well, you would probably really enjoy the Z9 screen because it adds more movement to what the D500 does. Um, JH, okay. Been following your channel for a while. Thought it was time to subscribe and support your channel. Thank you very much, JH, and welcome to the community, man. If you've been following us, now you're part of it. So we can be a little controversial in here. We're all opinionated, but show me a group of photographers that aren't. But and as you've probably noticed, we don't bash other brands. They're all the camera manufacturers are doing a great job out there. So we recognize that as well. This is just the majority of us, our preferred brand, not for everybody. Welcome, Tay Keys. How are you doing, sir? All right.
How's it going?
So,
no volume.
got it muted. Okay. That means the grandkids are there. All right. Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Just keep using sign language. We'll figure it out.
Tay Keys is an up and comer. He's doing a lot of portrait shooting and things like that. Nope, can't hear you. Want to recognize him as well. So everybody's out doing their thing.
I know you can hear me now.
Yep, hear you now.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my microphone. I ain't trying to be like Jeff.
All right.
Well, I do have a problem. Why are you saying everybody the link and I'll be the last one that got the ads?
I thought I sent you the link. If I didn't, I'm sorry.
You ain't send me
you got to ask. Were you here?
It's all right. It's all right. I'm gonna catch you on I-40.
Catch me on I-40. Yeah, that'll be a constant when I do move down there to Tennessee, because I-40 runs right to where my wife works, and she has to go in from time to time and spend a week or so there at the headquarters.
Yeah, but Jeffrey, so what you editing on when you do your videos?
Final Cut Pro.
Okay, will you shoot what you edit on?
When I'm shooting it in 4K, H.265 10-bit 4K 120.
Okay, so when you put it in Final Cut Pro, it's gonna say you got to do a new project, and then you got to set it your 4K.
Okay.
So you got to set it. What is that? Hold on, let me make sure I'm right.
Man, you need to get you a studio.
I do. I got one.
Do you?
Yeah, I got one.
Good.
I got one, but I start one in my barn, so I got a big studio. So I got a regular studio now.
Okay, good. You gonna move all your stuff out there, be able to stream and everything from there?
I'm working on that.
No, don't stop short, man. You're gonna do it right.
I'm working on that. It's the Wi-Fi, like where I'm at. I can't get Wi-Fi.
Okay.
with the what you call it, with the cable company. So
Okay.
it's gonna cost like 8,000. That's to drill a line from the end of the road to where my building at. So it's gonna cost a lot of money. So
Yeah,
I'm trying to find ways.
Yeah, I can see how that'd be a problem.
Yeah, I'm trying to find ways that's to get it. Cause I know they you heard of Spectrum?
Yep.
Yeah, they said about 8,000. If
Man.
it was less than 8,000, they would have did it. It was
Yep.
more than 8,000. So then other cables people, they couldn't do it because they didn't have service out there. So I'm trying to find ways to get it out there.
That's a good comment there about Roy talking about the 5-inch screen on the Blackmagic Pocket cinema camera. Yeah, 5 inches. That'd be nice. It would really be nice. I don't know what they'd have to sacrifice on the back of the camera, what buttons or controls we'd have to sacrifice, but yeah,
Right.
I agree with you, Roy. It'd be nice.
Okay, Jeffrey. So when you go to new project, you're gonna put new project, a video. When they say video, you're gonna put it in 4K. Once you put it in 4K, it's going the resolution and rate gonna be 3840 by 2160, and your rate gonna be 60 frames.
Okay.
You could do it. You could do it 60 frames or you could do it 24. It don't matter. But your video got when you loaded it, it got to match your camera, which you record in. So you did it in 4K. So you got to load your project in 4K. So your video gonna be 4K. Once you put 4K, your resolution gonna be 3840 by 2160, and
So where
60
where does it ask you to choose after you say new project? It'll come and
Yeah,
you
it's
do
going.
import media. It comes up and it asks you.
No, when you go to Final Cut Pro, you're gonna go
Yep.
to file, and you're gonna go to new project, new and then
Yep.
project. Once you hit project, a little box gonna pop up. A little box gonna pop up.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now as we talk.
Okay, once a little box pop up, it's gonna say video. You see start time code on the starting time code. It's gonna be video. You see video?
Yeah, it says set based on first video clip properties. And then it has a use custom settings button.
Right. So click on the little down area. I wish I could share my screen.
Well,
yeah. Well, I don't want to.
You two need to get together. Yeah.
We'll work on this some other time. We don't want to talk about it on the show too much.
Chuck be all right. He already make me mad.
You already made him mad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see it. I found it. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah, you could go in and pick the resolution, pick the frame rate.
Yeah.
Pick the format. Yeah, I found it. We're good.
Yeah.
All righty.
All right, Chuck, take it away.
All right, man.
Thank you, sir.
Talking about trying to help you out now here. Talking about
well, I mean, I believe it or not, I mean, I probably had this software for 2 weeks before I was putting content on YouTube. So I mean, I'm trying to learn it on my own in 2 weeks. And
you're doing a good job.
I've managed to put stuff out there. So without reading the 1,000 page plus manual.
This is for you.
YouTube is your best friend.
This is for you, Tay Keys.
You could what?
100-bit conduit. Here's another one. Trying to help you out, man. There's always a possibility.
Well, you could get
Well,
you could get a satellite dish and get high-speed internet from that, right?
yeah, but satellite dish, that internet sucks.
Well, hey, we didn't say it was good.
Hey,
We just said it's there. Uh,
it's all right, man. Don't be talking about my kitchen, man. It's all right. I'm trying to move my stuff down there because you know how the wife get, Chuck. They want you.
yeah,
Yeah, so I'm working
that's the
on
only problem with you being in the house is you got to mute all the time because that
it.
background, man, is loud.
Yeah.
The background is real life, right?
Yes, yes,
Hey, if you got some grandkids, you know what I mean.
I do, I do. Thanks, low rider or long rider, man. I always appreciate you in here. Yeah, we're not going to bash Sony and Canon and Fuji and everything else. We only bash
No.
Fuji when Tay Keys is in here. That's all.
Yeah. Well,
Boy,
that's just because you can't help it.
that Fuji new Fuji film about to be 6K.
Yeah, well, I think what's disappointing is them wanting to have an option for a fan kit. I think that's awful. I mean that's poor design. If you already go, oh crap, let's do a fan kit as an option to keep
All
it
right.
cool. I don't
All right,
know.
Mike. Hate to see you go, man, but you got to go do what you got to do, brother. Thanks for being in here, though.
Oh, Moz, man, I got a building, so I don't have no. I mean, I got a barn, but I already ran what you call power from my house to the barn. I already did all that. So when I first got it, so now I got a building now.
Yeah, well, that's what
So
he's saying. You can run from your shoot uh,
no, I know.
router.
I'm
You
right.
could hardline it from the router out too.
You're right. But my studio is in another place.
Oh.
Not in your okay.
Yeah,
So
I got a barn when I first started.
yeah.
When I first started in photography, I was doing outside. So now I got a barn, so I turned into a barn to a studio. So I run like power underground from my house to the barn just to get some power. And then now I got a studio, a building, like what you call it, like 15 square feet, 15,000 square feet, something like that. And now it's hard to get internet where I'm at. So,
Okay.
but I know
Okay.
what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Underground wire. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That wasn't no joke.
Uh,
Moss man ain't right. Boy, he ain't right. Boy, he ain't right, boy. It's all right. You in North Carolina, so I know where you at.
Yeah, but he's going to be running back to the West Coast soon.
Yeah, I know where you at.
so James is asking about lenses here, and is there something that's not on the roadmap that you all want to see? I know a lot of people are talking about the possibility of a 135.
If Fuji come out something like that, that'd be good with it. Like a
Yeah.
135 or a 200 to 600, I would get that. But Fuji don't make something like that, but except for a 200 lens and a 100 to 400 lens. If they can make something like a 200 to 600, something like Nikon be having like a 70, something like that. That'd be good.
Well, I mean, once they fill the gaps of what we think is the 85 1.2 and get the 200 to 600 out there, 200 and 600 people need that if they're wildlife and they can't afford
Right.
to drop, you know,
Right.
$6,000 or more on a lens, then you kind of need that. But
Right.
maybe you got to get back. Maybe you got to go into the fast primes, some fast primes in general. 28 millimeter, 20 millimeter. You got to have some fast primes.
Hey, Albert, you right. Fuji about to throw some curveballs. You right. You right. Well, the only lens I like, Chuck, is the Viltrox 85. That's like the top of the line with regular Fuji lens. But I like the Viltrox. I know you ain't tried it yet, but
No,
that's
no.
I
I think it's great that there's third party out there producing it, but I've never been a third party lens kind of
right.
guy.
Yeah, I know you said that before, but
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. But if it's Fuji come out something like with Nikon, like the lens, like the 70, the wherever you got, or the 200, 600, 400 lens, that'd be good. But
I, I don't know what the cost of that 2 to 600 will be, but I know there are a lot of people anxiously awaiting that as well.
Yeah.
James,
I was gonna say at least $500 more than than the 2 to 5 F mount version.
yeah.
Add at least $500.
James says he thinks it'll be at least
Yeah,
1999.
yeah, that's probably about right. Plus or minus 100.
Yeah. Definitely going to be a good entry level super telephoto zoom, no doubt about it. I hope the quality's good. Nikon carries on with the quality. It's not an S lens, but that doesn't mean it won't outperform S lenses. It very well could. Can you tell the difference with lenses on the Fuji?
who that Roar? Where
Yeah,
Roar? Yeah,
Roy.
Roar. Yeah, I can tell a big difference. That Viltrox 85 is to me is better than the regular Fuji lenses. It's like it's it's dope. It's top of the line. Like the 85 Viltrox and the 33 Viltrox. Like that. I know people get me tired of saying it, but if you look at Ike stuff, he got the video quality of the he got the Nikon Z9 with the 24, the Viltrox 24. It's
Yeah, but the thing about it is that's all in the editing too. Ike's doing a great job in editing his video. I
right.
watched that photo shoot at the library.
Yeah.
Uh, I think that he did a great job there. He used the panny in-log or in-log panny shoot LUT to on the Nikon in-log, and it really looked good. Hoping the 2 to 600 is 5.6 constant. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know, man. I don't want to rain on anybody's parade, but I think it could be. It could very well be. But it's one of those things going back to the logistics triangle: good, fast, and cheap. So with this lens, if you want good and fast, it ain't going to be cheap. If you want uh, fast and cheap, it ain't going to be good.
Yeah.
It's my
Well,
fear because of again, it's not an S lens, and Nikon's got to save that S designation for lenses that, excuse me, lenses that have more capability. So it'll be interesting to see though, James. I hope it is 5.6 constant though.
I think if they do that, it's a smart move because it separates them from the Sony version, which is a variable aperture lens. So if they do it as a fixed 5.6, that's going to give them a leg up versus the Sony brand.
Yeah. What do you think about the cooling fan on the Fuji camera? See, I just see any internal fan, unless it's absolutely silent, as
If it be
being.
sat, yeah, right. Go ahead.
But
Yep.
I see it could be an issue. I mean, the fan in the Ninja 5 drives me crazy.
Boy, what you telling, Chuck? Boy, what you telling, boy? I thought I on that Ninja 5, boy, I thought it was gonna blow up.
Yep. Yep.
Boy,
So,
when I first got it, boy, I thought everything was gonna blow up. I said,
yeah.
man.
So, Canon, I haven't heard anybody really. I know that somebody said that Peter, daggone it, ripped the R5C apart, and he's a Canon shooter.
Mhm.
So I don't know what the issue was. I haven't watched the video yet, but I'm wondering if it has to do with fan noise or something like that. I mean, you had to guess that that could be an issue, especially for microphones mounted on camera. Um, Not that everybody mounts mics on camera for everything they do. Don't get me wrong. But that's always a consideration every time Aperture puts out a new light or something. Their constant lights, their chip on board lights, is how loud is the fan? Is it gonna be an issue?
Let me
Um,
tell you, a good fan that stays quiet for year after year after year would cost a lot more money than they can afford to put on a camera. Working in the aerospace industry where you have cooling fans everywhere
yeah,
and those fans, you got filtration, you got dust and dirt and sand from the desert and over in the Middle East trying to get sucked through those things.
I
And
had I
you
hadn't
have very
considered that.
expensive fans, very, very expensive fans. And they could never afford to put that great of a fan on the back of a camera to cool it. So
Yeah,
to me, a fan on a camera is a weak point for the camera. It will fail. It will get noisy over time. They
yeah,
just won't, they just can't. They'd have to price it so high that nobody would buy it.
yeah,
Right. But who's that? Who's that? Say Albert. I mean, I'm good with the cooling fan as long as it don't do like the Canon R5 overheat or is the Canon R5 or I don't know which one, but
the R5. Yeah,
as long as it don't overheat, I'm good. I'm good
yeah.
with it as long as they don't overheat.
Well, and the other thing is we talk about overheating a lot, and we may have gone overboard even on the R5. The point is that yes, and somebody brought up if you try to shoot, if you try to bring up the topic of who's shooting 2 hours of video, 8K or whatever, on the camera body, or even
Right.
4K 120, and you know most of us will never do that. The majority, 99% of the people that are going to shoot video on it are not going to shoot continuous, 1.5 hour clips. But somebody always rears their head and says, "Well, I shoot recitals or whatever, or interviews or something." That's a small percentage of the people that are going to do it. Not that they don't deserve to get what they want, but to complain about a camera overheating after, a 30-minute run, and I don't know, the R5 may have been a little bit bogged down by the overheating issue, because it was having to let it cool down in between, clips or something like that. So I just don't. If you want to go that route, and this has been said before about autofocus and video and everything else, go to full cine cameras.
Yeah,
You're
because you could
not.
get in the overheating. You can also
Yes,
got to worry about the overheating of the memory cards of the
yes,
cards.
and I
Cards
hate to
get
say
hot.
that. I hate to say that, but the truth is you're not going to get cine camera performance out of these bodies yet. They may perfect it down the road, but you're not going to get the same performance out of these cameras, these hybrid cameras right now. So, I was guilty of picking on Canon when they dropped the R5, talking about the overheating, and I shouldn't have, because any camera, again, trying to shoot video that long, especially high frame rates or 8K video or whatever, uh,
You're right. Wild
it's
people
just
shoot 2 hours long or a
yeah.
video, like you said. Yep, you're right.
Can you imagine editing 8K video, 2 hour
That's
clip of
too.
8K video?
I
I
give
don't
mine to
even.
Jeffrey.
You're going to have to tap into NASA to get some computing power for one. Oh man. And
I
Roy,
send my link to Jeffrey. Get that. He got all the time.
yeah. So here we go. Back to the 2 to 600. 200 to 600 isn't constant aperture, then I'll be losing interest fast. And I hope that it is. I don't know. And James is saying that if it is, then you're gonna wind up paying possibly up to $2,500. Roy, back on the fan issue. Fans get noisier with time. You brought up
Yeah.
something I hadn't considered, Jeff, is the fact that carrying it into dirty environments, yeah, it's going to pull all the dust and whatever. I wonder what they do to. I wonder how that will affect the fan or whatever. I don't know.
Well, as Roy says too in another comment, even the quietest fans can have resonance issues. So
Yeah,
you're going to have a frequency associated with that fan speed, and if you don't dampen it well enough, that you're going to get vibrations, low frequency. You're going to get vibrations that could go into the camera body. So you have to be able to isolate that the fan from the body. And someone said, yeah, it's removable. I realize it's removable, but my point is they're not going to spend $200 on a fan.
yeah,
They're not going to do it. They're going to buy the cheapest fan they can get because they can't charge a lot of money for that fan kit. And
yeah.
that's the problem. And then that's why it's always going to be, whether it's the R5C or a Fuji with a fan kit, it's going to be the weak point on that camera. And it just will. It's just a matter of economics. Believe me, I know a little bit about fans, and a good fan costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Chuck, on the Ninja 5, is the fan removable, or can you turn it down, or is just
No, there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, it comes out of the box as loud as it is, and may get louder with time. With the comments we've had here.
Okay.
But yeah, it's running right now. I mean, you can't turn it on without the fan running.
Okay, I got you.
Well, that's the problem with some of the gear that Vahagen has evaluated for lighting, right, Chuck?
Yeah.
Those lights some of them have very loud fans, and some of them, okay, now you buy the model that's $200 more, and it's like, yeah, the fan's a lot quieter, but yeah, a good quiet fan is a good amount of money, and it adds a lot to the cost.
So is it high? You're gonna have to give me the phonetics for that. Never had issues, huh? Never had issues with overheating with the R5 and shot primarily 8K. Okay, and I can believe that. I mean, I don't know how long you were shooting or how many clips back to back or whatever. I say clips, but how many, different segments were you shooting at 8K? But yeah, I can see management helping to alleviate the problem with, management in your shooting helping to alleviate the problem with overheating. We talk about Nikon with what they did in the Z9, bigger body, obviously, more heat dissipation area, and maybe again something in secret sauce as far as the processor working. But now there are a lot of people talking about their cards overheating in the Z9 and having to let the card shoot or cool down. But that's going to be a separate manufacturer issue. That isn't going to be a Nikon issue.
No,
I mean, you can't control what the cards do. But there are people that have just recently been talking about their cards overheating and getting an overheating a card overheating warning.
So do the Ninja 5 overheat, or is the fan just keeping it cool?
I guess it'd be near impossible to make it overheat considering the fan runs continuously, at least in mine, and I don't know of a setting in it to shut it off. So yeah.
Well, I just ain't too long just had mine, so that's why I asked. So
yeah, I don't know, but again, I'm looking at it now because it aggravates me. I'm just glad you can't hear it. You can hear it if I went total silent with no other noise in here, and you have
I know. Yeah,
you can hear it through the mic.
Okay.
Yeah, it might just be a low hum, but you would hear something.
That's interesting. The only film that was continuous. Oh, I know of another one that was a continuous run for. Now the weather and time of day kind of hurt them. But what's the World War I movie where the messenger's running to pass a message to a unit that's getting ready to attack, and it's a setup or something? I can't remember just recently in the last few years. That was a continuous run in that video or in that movie. And here we go. Agree with you, Moz, man. If you
Yeah.
need something to shoot for hours, buy a video camera. They're actually designed for that. Absolutely. So, we're not going to get everything we want in these hybrid cameras, and that's just one of the things we're going to have to deal with.
Well, that's the thing is people's expectations is they so badly want a hybrid camera to be as good as a pure video camera. And that's not going to happen without the body getting a lot bigger and
Right.
heavier. I mean, there's a reason that you have a thing called a video camera.
That's what Jaspreet was talking about, he talking about in-body ND filters. And if you're going to go that far and you're going to build the body big enough, I mean, then build a cine camera, a small box like cine camera. Put, give us true audio capability in the camera. And
Yeah, the movie you're talking about is 1917.
1917. That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
There's a good behind the scenes on that too to watch if anybody wants to watch it.
I can't go back that far, Chuck, so I won't bore on that.
Yeah, I was just a small kid at the time.
Yeah. Chuck was only 40 back then.
Yeah, I was in my. That's not true. I was in my early 30s. Yeah,
I will no longer be invited to Chuck's channel for any future.
No, that doesn't bother me. People have said that for years. Again, like I said, my hair turned gray, then began down the white path now. Early on.
You turning gray when you're 5
years
years
better
old,
than me, Chuck. I think you look better than me. So you're drinking the right stuff, whatever it is. Kentucky bourbon, I don't know. You're drinking the right stuff.
There you go. keep the ninja in a bucket of water. Exactly.
Albert, yeah, you're right.
Mozman talking about the fans, external fans.
Is Mozman in South Carolina or North Carolina? I can't remember.
Well, he's visiting his dad in North Carolina right now.
Okay. Thank you for telling me, Jeff. So
yeah, he made a pit stop and saw me for a day in Myrtle Beach, and we went shooting together. We had a great time.
Oh, you ain't far from me either.
No, I'm in Myrtle Beach.
Oh, I'll be in Myrtle Beach July for my anniversary.
Well, if your wife kicks you out or something, you can give me a call. If you didn't get her a good enough gift, well,
I told my wife she had everything she needs.
I can relate to that right now, Moz, man, because I've been going through, and it's hard to turn loose of stuff, but I have pitched and things I would like to keep, but I've just got so much junk that I had to whittle it down for the move. Actually, just to get it out of the way so we can show the house. That's been the big decluttering project recently. There you go. Roy's talking about it too. You hate to let go of it, but man, you just get to a point. That's why I want the forever house. I can become a hoarder. No, my wife's not going to let that happen.
My wife called me Fred Sanford.
Yeah, man, me too.
I keep on ordering stuff on Amazon.
I just spent some money on Amazon just the other day. I did not have an external mic for my Z9, which was evident in my last video because it got windy and I had a lot of wind noise that I couldn't really get rid of with the software. So I broke down and I bought a Rode mic.
Which one you got the new one Or you
I
got the
got the
regular?
new one with all the noise cancellation on the back and
Yeah.
minus 10 plus 20 dB and all that other stuff on the back of it. So I bought the better one. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And I bought the windsock for it too. So
Okay. Yeah, I got the new one. I got two of them.
I think it's called the Video Pro Plus is what I bought.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I got. Then I got another one. I forgot where that at. Oh, wrong one. This
yeah.
one right here.
Road one. Yeah.
That's what I got.
All right, folks. Anybody wants to call in, make your phone calls because we're going to shut it down here before too long. Hear what you have to say. Covered a lot of ground today. I learned a bunch of things. You guys always educate me every time we have one of these live streams.
Oh, Chuck, you did a video yet, or we
No,
still waiting?
I'm still procrastinating.
Okay.
I'll at least be honest.
Okay.
Have your wife shoot a video of you going up and down the attic 500 times, cleaning it out for.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I see the
Vahagan
buckets
said the
of
other.
sweat coming off of you.
Yeah, Vahagan said the other day, "Hey, shoot a video while you're loading the dumpster with stuff." So
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, I don't know how that would be interesting to anybody other than seeing me throw away a bunch of stuff that people might want."
I bet you get more views than you ever had with that.
Yeah. So as I'm throwing stuff in the dumpster, actually I'm sorting, and my brother was he was here. He just went back Monday, but I wonder, where is he? I got another load ready to go. So I figure, okay, I'll pick it up and take it. And I go all the way out there to the dumpster, and there he is sorting through it again. This is good stuff. Well, what are you going to do with it? You can't carry it on the plane. So why are you wasting time? But yeah, that's what he was doing, because he is a pack rat. He was upset that I was throwing away so much stuff that he thought was, great or whatever. He said, "You need to sell this." I ain't got time. I'm not having a yard sale. I just want to get rid of it. Mama wants to get rid of it, and that's enough to say throw it.
Just tell him he's got to come back with a U-Haul and he can take it all away from you.
There you go.
Oh, Mossman said,
"That's great. That's great." That would be great. How many people would catch that, Mossman, if I had a title that said boxing video of camera or whatever. I may do that when I'm packing all this stuff up, which I'm going to start next week. I got so much gear to box up. It isn't even funny.
You moving?
Yes. I'm going to Tennessee.
All right. You about 6 hours from me. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, it's a little farther, I think, from you, but it'll be about 8 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've made that trip a few times. A Z9 boxing video. There you go. That's exactly what I'll do. Well, I hate to say that I'll do that, but I could do it just for fun.
Yeah.
Stu Blue's in the house, folks.
Hey.
Round of
What's
applause.
Yes, Stu Blue.
Yes, to Tennessee, buddy, to Tennessee. Glad to see you in here, man. One of these days when you get a chance, you'll have to join us in a guest seat. Good to see you too. I see you dropped a video today saying why I'm back. I can't say that. Why is it I can't? Why I'm back? I haven't checked it out yet. I saw it when we saw or started the live stream, so I haven't gone to check it out yet. Did my house fall apart? Not yet. The carpenter bees are trying now, and the woodpecker I get no relief here, man. How many folks will the session support? I can have up to 9 guests. Gets a little confusing then though, but up to 9 people in here.
Then you only see half our face, which might be a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
What you gonna name the channel, Chuck? Uncle.
I think I'm going to go with still in consultation with the boss, my marketing manager, my beautiful bride, and all of her compadres. Probably Chuck Talks. I want it short. We can always add to, after the official name Chuck Talks, it could be Chuck Talks Photography, Chuck Talks to himself, which was the case early on in my live streaming career. Um,
I like
we
the
need-
Brady Bunch idea. Tay, you got to look up like you're looking up at Chuck on the screen, make it look like the Brady Bunch. You look up, I'll look the other way,
I'm going the wrong way here. Here we go. Hey, Jeff, how you doing, buddy?
Well, my screen's frozen, so I don't know which way my head's turning.
We do all that, and Ninja 5 might be louder.
If your head turns all the way around, we know we have to call an exorcist. That's all I know.
Chucko Late Show. Yeah, depending on where you're at. It's early or late. Yeah. All right, man. All right. Well, I've had a good time today. I really have. I'm getting close to winding it up when I start talking about that. You guys are great. We've had a bunch of people in here. We got a new subscriber. We got people commenting that haven't before, and I think that's fantastic. And I'm hoping that everybody just enjoys himself in these live streams. So far, I believe that to be the case because you just keep coming back for punishment or something.
Hey, that's a bird behind you, Chuck.
Yes, that is a photo of a red-tailed hawk eating a starling.
Well, Jeffrey, I think he got you.
You never know. I mean, Chuck's gonna sneak into the nature field soon. I think once he moves.
When I had time to shoot, actually enjoy photography. Now, if I have a open minute, Mama's got a plan for that minute.
Miles, man, you're right. Everybody can do the squares.
I caught two barn swallows today. Let's just say, having a little fun with each other on a fence on a post, and I'm like, it was very quick, but one of them had a smile on its face.
Yeah. Yeah, SJ, man, it's hard to quit once we get going in here. It really is, because everybody has, great comments. I actually love it. Thank you. Thanks, Ray. Yeah, if you would drop me a like or whatever. If you're in here and you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. I mean, if you're in here all the time anyway and you haven't subscribed, you may as well go ahead and do it. They're free. The subscription is.
I can't go back to the 70s now. I think I heard that before. All in the family. I think I think I can't go to 70s now, but I heard about it.
Yeah, it's so true. Absolutely, Greg. Everybody would wonder, why are you throwing that away? Send it to me, or whatever. That was my brother. I'm telling you, he had a pile of stuff out there that I had I said, where are you going to put that? You're going to
carry on luggage. Carry on.
Yeah.
He can't get through TSA with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they see all those wires and stuff, and they think you're bringing a bomb on the plane. He'd be thrown in jail like in 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, we love you too, Stu. That's why everybody keeps asking about you, man. It's so good to see you back, but life comes first, brother. And we all understand that.
Yes, sir, man. I'm still praying for you, man. Still praying for you.
And we hope to see you soon. I'll watch your video as soon as we finish the live stream and drop you a comment. So those of you that don't know Stu Blue, and I can't imagine that would be the case, get over to his YouTube channel. maybe a bit bleak right now because he just kind of revamped it and started over again. But you're going to love his content, guarantee it. Guarantee it.
Check it out.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Greg, my wife would be okay with that. She says I have too much junk.
Yeah, box it up. I'll take another Ninja 5.
You want the one with the loud fan or the quiet fan?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I take that what you call it, that road what you call it, little thing over there. The road
Oh, the roadcaster.
yeah, I take that. The roadcaster.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. It kind of helps out. It does. And that's the thing. We talk about cameras all the time, and does gear really matter? Remember, Bahagan just posted a video. Does gear really matter? And you know what it does? It's not always that it's better. The next iteration is not always better, but it makes it easier somehow. And so gear does matter, in my opinion. If
Yep.
you're looking for ease of performance, whether it's a camera, a lens, or even this Rodecaster Pro here, it just makes it easier. That's what gear does often.
Is it better, or do you like it, or how?
You mean as far as the Rodecaster Pro?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it just makes it easier to run multiple audio feeds,
Okay,
microphones
okay.
and everything else.
Okay, I got you.
And there's a lot of things that you can do with it. It's obviously better than just running a mic into the camera. Camera processing audio is terrible, as you know. But anyway,
I got you.
yeah, that's what gear does. Is it helps us out. I got what do we got here? I don't advise it. Oh man, let's see. I'll definitely go check out Stu Blue. Do that, SJ. I think you'll enjoy.
Yeah, I'm
He's a
gonna check
great
that
guy.
out too.
We're going to get him on here live here before long. He's a busy man. Maybe I catch him on a Saturday night when life hasn't got him tied up. Get him on here. Do I have my other studio planned out at the new place? No, I don't even have a new place yet, Greg. That's one of the issues. We've been looking at places for probably 10 years down there. And we kind of missed the opportunity when housing was still reasonably priced, but now everything everywhere has gone sky high, which of course helps in a seller's market, but that leaves you with no place to move to. So we're probably going to wind up renting, get rid of this and rent temporarily, at least until maybe the market settles and goes back down, and then buy our forever home, which I'm not happy about because that means I got to move yet again. But this time, learn my lesson, and I won't be collecting as much junk at the rental home. I don't want to move. I don't want to. I want to move one more time, but and that's still a possibility, but we don't see it as happening.
Well, just don't unpack everything. Some things you could probably leave in boxes until you find a place permanent.
Yeah. And I will. Yeah, right. Actually, it used to be that, I mean, there was a time 10 years ago, and I was looking at property down there, maybe having, 10 or 20 acres. And
Yeah.
I could find acreage at $1,000 an acre. It may sound like a lot, but it's not. It's dirt cheap. Now you can't touch it for 30,000 an acre. It's ridiculous in just a few years how high everything's gotten.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's the other way around. Yeah, he said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know North Carolina more cheaper than where you at, Chuck.
Yeah, but you know what? It's funny that the houses down there have closed the gap considerably. Where before, yes, buying in Tennessee was considerably cheaper. I'd get probably more house for less money, but Not right now. I don't know what's going on. I think COVID helped to push everybody out of cities there for a while too. A lot of people actually went out, got out of cities.
Mhm.
They were afraid of the COVID thing in the bigger cities. I know that New York had an exodus, New York City, that is. A lot of people were leaving the city. Yeah, Rich, figured that, man. Or either that or it was just a funny joke there.
Yeah, nothing in Connecticut is cheap.
Yeah, New York came to Connecticut. So, Rich, where are you at? You're in, man, it's on the tip of my tongue, over in Newtown, I think. Oh, Stanford. Okay.
Hey, Stanford,
All right.
North Carolina, or Stanford, New
Connecticut,
York, or
Not
Connecticut.
Stanford, Stanford.
Oh, Stanford.
Stanford.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sanford, I know well, traveling between Raleigh and
uh
Fayette,
oh, uh oh,
and
uh oh,
Vietnam.
uh oh. Chuck, you be traveling.
Man, I spent a lot of time in North Carolina, more time than I wanted to, down at Fort Bragg.
Yeah.
All right. So we got Rich in Stanford. I can't remember his name over in, who is it's over in Newtown. We need to have a Connecticut get together and shoot. All right, folks, we have officially crossed the 3 hour point. That gives me, I'm good to go. So I now have authority to pull the plug. I always want to reach that 3 hour mark. The other night we went 4 hours, and as Mozman stated and was correct, the I think the record is 4 hours and 40 something minutes. So it's going to be hard to top that, but we will. And this is where I get hate mail, not hate mail, but people complaining saying they go too long. I don't understand that, that they go too
We
long.
don't let you hang up. We don't let you hang up, Chuck. That's the
Well,
problem.
yeah, 4 hours and 43 minutes. Mozman checked. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't understand that. You know, again, you can leave anytime you want, join anytime you want in the live stream, and I'm not being snippy about it. I just don't know how you could criticize that. A lot of people like that, folks that show up late because they couldn't get into the stream sooner. But
I know that.
and I'm just happy that all you guys show up all the time. I really am. We're going to continue to have fun. All right. So shout out to Photography Selective Imagery. Who's that?
No clue. I don't know who that is.
Maybe Jeffrey Neville? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah,
So
some bald headed guy.
all these names I mentioned, if you would go check them out and drop a like on whatever they put out recently, and consider subscribing to these folks as well. Frames TM, he was on the show yesterday in the chat. Does a lot of good work, a lot of interesting work. He's different. Okay, he's a content creator. I think you'll enjoy what he's putting out right now. SJ Square Photography. He's in the chat right now. Go check his channel out. Does a lot of portrait shooting, indoor, outdoor. I think more outdoor recently, but if you're into portrait photography and lighting, he always does a good job of explaining and showing you what he's shooting with and how he's using it.
Back again with another video.
Yep. Tay Keys, who's he's a portrait shooter as well. Check out his channel. And Mr. Tay Keys sitting right in front of us. Make sure you check it out. Consider liking some of his content or even subscribing. T Mid. He's great at he does a lot of indoor photo shoots or portrait shooting, always explaining his lighting technique and of course talking about the camera and lens that he's shooting with. Photo Me Ike, just a content creator extraordinaire. Really having fun with the Z9. If you want to see some creativity with the Z9, both stills and video, you need to check out his channel as well. Anthony Toglife. Anthony is a portrait and I guess family and event shooter. He has some great content on his channel, not just in his lighting setups, but in instruction videos on how to achieve certain lighting. Is there, if you're interested in lighting and you haven't really paid attention to anybody or looked for any instruction videos, Anthony Toglife, he's very good. Not just that, but he has some sit down talks with other photographers, and that's worth listening to as well. Who else do I have that I missed? I don't know, but anyway, so these are some of the people that helped me early on in getting the channel started, and I want to return the favor. And hope you guys will go check them out as well. Let's see. Anything else in here? Last minute. Yep, we saw that earlier, but that's great. So there you go. Top selling camera. I wish Nikon could up the production and get them in everybody's hands. Said, yep, you made it back before we left, buddy, and appreciate you being in here. So again, everybody that's in here right now, thank you very much. Anybody that watches later, you can be part of this crowd too, as crazy as it is. A lot of good information passed in the chat room, and hopefully we can continue building our community even more. It looks like we got a few more today. So that said, appreciate it. Take keys, and we throw it to you to say your goodbyes.
Peace. Make sure I get a link next time, Chuck. Thank you, Up.
Yeah,
All right, Jeffrey.
Have a good one. Everybody,
Jeff,
thanks for joining and putting up with me.
man, it's not putting up with it. We all have a good time. We
Yeah,
all
it's
have
fun.
a good time. All right. Any last minute? Yeah, moving does suck. I agree, Greg, and I'm hating it, but I got to do it. Any last minute comments or anything anybody wants to share before we shut her down? It's been a fun afternoon. I've really enjoyed it. I guess Verhagen got tied down with something. He said that he was going to try to join, but I know that he's a busy man right now. All right, Moz, man, you said it best. Badee, that's all, folks.
It's all, folks.
Yes, everybody take care. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. We'll see you this Saturday night, unlike the following Saturday night, but we'll see you this Saturday night. Be on at 9 p.m. Eastern. I don't know who's going to join us yet, but we'll know in the show who wanted to join. Thanks for that, James. Thanks to you guys. Another great show. All right, 9 p.m. Saturday night. See you then. Hope everything goes well the rest of the week. Everybody pray for me that I don't collapse carrying crap out of the attic and down to the dumpster. All right. All right, folks. God bless y'all. See you again Saturday. Bye-bye.